And Insider provided an update on the DC search. Why is there silence? What does it all mean? We'll explain. Plus, we also have I have a question to ask about Aaron Glenn. And we have a special guest. All that is more is coming here on a Friday episode of Boy Green Daily. Let's go.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Happy Friday to you. We're ahead of NFL divisional weekend coming up here over the next couple of days, which is terrific. And maybe we'll get some of that in too, but a lot of Jets talk. There's a lot happening here on the program. Let's bring in our special guest. You see it every single day over my left shoulder. There it is right there. If I knew how to point to the opposite in mirror school. Beyond Broadway Joe, the Super Bowl team that changed football forever, and the guy that's changed podcast co-host guesting forever is Bob Lederer, baby. What's up, Bob?
Wow, what a compliment.
I'm full of them, baby. So how you doing, Bob?
Well, how big a Red Sox fan are you?
A lot big. No, bigger than I think any fan in this audience would like to know.
Okay. Well, so you lost Bregman this week.
Yes.
And my team, the Mets, lost Kyle Tucker last night.
I saw that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
So you and I have shoulders that we can cry on.
Yes.
One-on-one with each other.
Sure. And then there's the Dante Moore news this week for the Jets. So, that's a switch.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that for sure.
That I imagine. Well, it's been very quiet on the DC front, on the defensive coordinator front. The only two names that we know have been openly discussed, and I'm not talking about names fans wish they would speak to or fans wish or dream candidates or anything. There's only been two names. There's been heavy rumors around Wink. Oops, sorry, folks, having some technical difficulties here. I'll stay away from pressing that button again. There is Wink Martindale, who was the Michigan defensive coordinator the last 2 years. And then prior to that, he was in the NFL with the New York Giants most recently. There's been a ton of heavy rumors around him, the Jets, mutual interest, Rich Cimini, Connor Hughes, Zach Rosebach. Almost every team insider has that information that there's been mutual interest. That's one guy. And then the only interview request we're aware of is Dante Jones of the Minnesota Vikings, who's basically a top lieutenant under Brian Flores. That's it. Besides it, it's been dead silent. But I was tweeting at Connor Hughes because he's giving all these big Giants updates as they're celebrating John Harbaugh this week. I'm like, hey, Connor, what the hell, man? What about the Jets? What's going on? And he responded. So I bring this up now. So thinking of Connor Hughes for this insight. He said the Jets are conducting interviews this week. He reiterated, as I just mentioned, mutual interest with Wink Martindale. He says that the Jets are probably going to release the guys they've interviewed once they've completed the first round, as opposed to doing it all individually. So if you look around the league, like the Cowboys are a great example because I see it like literally every day. You see all the reports, Adam Schefter's of the world and everybody else. The Cowboys have requested permission to speak with blee, blah, blue of the Eagles, the Giants. And it's just flowing, just constant flow of information. Wow, they're talking like 10 guys. The Jets, crickets. It's been nothing. So Connor Hughes is saying is that the Jets are apparently doing things behind the scenes. We just don't know what the hell is going on. So is that a good thing or a bad thing, Bob, that there's no leaks, but we also, as fans, are sort of left in the dark because we don't know what the hell's going on?
I've thought all week it's a Parcells type thing. Parcells had a huge ego, justifiably so. I don't think he really liked to share information that he didn't have to share. And I think Glenn is of the old school. My first thought this week was that maybe he was waiting. Maybe Glenn was waiting for teams that were going to be eliminated, so that he could talk to those, like defensive assistants or defensive coordinators elsewhere. But I'm kind of perplexed about why you'd be so quiet, especially since making some kind of news, keeping the Jets relevant in the press seems to be so important. And although you can, publicly congratulate the Giants for having gotten John Harbaugh, and I thought it was great for the Giants too, but you still have your own fandom who want to know what the heck is going on and what are you doing, to improve, your coaching, your players, everything else. And we still don't know about any of the Jets assistant coaches who are rumored, and justifiably so, to be on the hot seat, if not with one foot out the door, and they're being pushed in that direction. So I don't know. I don't know. What's your theory?
Yeah, so I'll go to the other part first. I have an unhealthy amount of times Googled New York Jets coaching staff and checked their website, because I've seen with other teams over the years that that's normally the first place you would notice that someone was gone. Like
Somebody was missing.
100%. So like I have somehow memorized the entire Jets coaching staff. So every time I go to the website, I know the names I'm looking for that shouldn't be there or should be there.
So I'm on pins and needles. So who may or may not be there?
Well, unfortunately, everyone is there. But I've just looked at 250 times. Like Google now says, hey, this is a site you visit very often. I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know. Boop, 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 boop. I'm checking it 4 or 5 times a day, because sometimes we've seen that news break to the rest of us in the universe, because that's the first thing apparently they do is they just throw you in a van, give you your cardboard box and say, get the hell out of here, and immediately remove you from the website. So far, all the people that reportedly have been in danger, Charles London, their quarterback's coach, Aaron Curry, their linebackers coach, Eric Washington, their defensive line coach, and maybe additional changes that weren't reported that could be happening. Zip and Pip, a whole lot of nothing, a big nothing burger, which again, it depends what kind of fan you are, I think. If you're an optimistic fan, I have a take. If you're a pessimistic fan, I have a take. And we'll start with the pessimistic side. If you're a pessimistic fan, you're like, oh my God, AG isn't going to make any of these changes. No. They were all just rumored, and he's just going to run it back. So if you're a pessimistic fan, that's what you think. Or you think he's just sitting on his hands and not doing anything. But I think my optimistic take, which I think is in fact optimistic, but I also think it's more real. AG clearly sees his team just went 3-14, and there are clear problems on the coaching staff, some that have been reported, and maybe, like I said, some that haven't even been reported, of like issues he's noticed and realized. He's like, this has to change. So I think it is a Bill Parcells thing. You said it beautifully at the beginning of the show, that it's him saying, with all due respect, fans, why do I need to give you guys intel about who we're talking to and how you're sort of mapping out the journey here? And while that would be great for me, I do a daily show about the Jets. I'd like a bone every friggin' once in a while, AG. But now all we have to hope for is that Connor Hughes is potentially right with the tweet he responded to me to, that there will be a first round of interviews and we see, whoa, here are 10 guys they talked to. Or that they just come out of the blue and hire somebody. They did the right things, right, with the Rooney Rule for the coordinator positions or anything else they're doing. They do all the right stuff behind the scenes and then just presto hire.
Is there a Rooney Rule for the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator? So
there is. So for the coordinator positions, you must do the same as the head coach. You must interview at least.
Maybe that's why they let out that they had interviewed the assistant defensive coordinator with Minnesota.
That's true, but that would only be one name. You have to interview at least 2 external minority or female candidates. So maybe that's why. But like I said, so maybe instead of getting these breadcrumb updates of, oh, we're talking to this guy, maybe just out of nowhere tomorrow, boom, we've hired random name. We're like, holy crap, where the hell did that come from? And they have done all the proper stuff, because they don't technically have to tweet it out for it to count. If they interview 2 external minority and or female candidates, then they can technically hire whoever they want once they identify whoever that person is. So,
well, let's look at how Aaron Glenn ran his team for the public
Sure.
during the season.
Yeah.
Quoting things like, "We will have a quarterback on Sunday."
That's true.
He didn't want to say who it was going to be.
No.
Now, from a competitive standpoint, there is a world of difference in style, obviously, between a quarterback who runs a lot of the time and one who stays in the pocket most of the time.
Mhm.
And why tip your hand about that? But still, over and over again, with a team that was just losing and at the end of the season was calling it in. The thing is, when you're in New York,
Mhm.
and Aaron Glenn knows this because he played here,
Sure, of course.
you got to find a way every day that you can to throw a tidbit out to the media to keep your team relevant, even if it is, a 3-inch column on page 67, of the New York tabloids or something, just something, while the Harbaugh story is taking up 3 pages of that sports section.
Yeah.
You have to be, it's not the same situation, but again, I hearken back, from my book to what Sonny Werblin did, and that he was going to get the Jets in the paper every day. And one thing he did every day was have Joe Namath. Yes, a book that any of you who have not read it I'm putting out guarantees these days that you will, enjoy it, or I'll give your money back. I hope don't have too many takers, but I don't think I will. But Werblin had Namath going out with a starlet every night. And he'd let the Post and the Daily News and all the other papers back then, because there were 6 or 7 of them in the mid-'60s, know where Joe was going to be. So you would see him with Raquel Welch, and you'd see him with Streisand, and you'd see him with other maybe lesser named starlets who's still would knock your eyes out. And he would, when he would make waiver claims that he knew they were not going to get, like Cookie Gilchrist, who was a star running back on Buffalo. He's a great fullback, but he got himself in trouble here and there. And the Bills got kind of fed up with him, and they put him on waivers. And like every other team in the league, Sonny put in a waiver claim and went public with it, which nobody bothered to do because you knew you weren't going to get the guy. But I remember as a kid reading Jets claim. Yeah, it was a little bit later than the 60s, but yeah, that was typical.
Yeah, there you go.
That was before she was a star.
Wow. Broadway Joe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, pick up the one with Anne Margaret. That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
But anyway, so Werblin made a big deal about putting in a waiver claim for Cookie Gilchrist, and he wasn't going to get Cookie Gilchrist, and he knew it. I talked to the PR, director of the Jets, and he said to me, we had to get in the paper every day because we were facing an uphill battle PR-wise with the Giants. We had to be relevant. We had to find something that a Jets fan would find interesting, maybe even compelling. And that's maybe something that, well, I know that's not anything that Woody Johnson cares about. He should, but he doesn't. And Aaron Glenn probably has that like the number 10 priority on his list while he's going through things. Now, Muji is obviously very involved in what they're doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly the final decision about who Aaron Glenn hires to be an assistant coach is his, but I'm sure Muji is putting in, his 2 cents as well. So we're going to find out after they're all done, the 10 guys they talk to.
Yeah.
And then we're supposed to sit on pins and needles waiting for them to make a decision. I don't know. By the way.
Yes, sir.
While waiting for you today, I decided,
okay.
How good was the New York Giants defense the last year under Wink Martindale? And we're talking about the defensive coordinator, not the game show host. I think the game show host would have done just as well because the Giants finished 27th in points allowed and yards allowed. Mm-hmm. But you'll be happy about this. They led the NFL in creating turnovers.
100%. That's the all the other raw numbers are not great, but the takeaways number is high, and that I've seen. So I guess we could go to this, Bob, on Wink, because that's the name that seems the strongest at this point that we know about. So we might as well, sort of sink our teeth in. Does Wink Martindale excite you? Does that Does that rev your engine at all? Because fans seem very split. I would say it's a 60-40 split right now. If I had to guess among the fan base, 60, Wink Martindale, disgusting, and 40 going, he's aggressive, he's got a style, and then again at takeaway number you brought up a 20,
And he just got
23.
fired by the University of Michigan.
Right, exactly. So right, the 60%, I would say the majority that say, I don't want Wink Martindale, are saying he didn't look great at Michigan as is. And the way that it went out with the Giants, a lot of people don't feel great about. But there is a 40% that, again, I think they like his aggressive nature. They like the takeaways. He's an old school guy, and maybe that's exactly what is needed. Like, there's no questioning, what is the Wink Martindale identity? His idea, like, he has an identity. Steve Wilkes, I'm still trying to figure out whatever that identity was. But to be honest, I'd like to spend less time thinking about that. So, Wink, would that be good? Would that be bad? Where are you at there?
He's a fire-breathing dragon
Yes.
who likes to kick people in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, how players react to that. Now, we did see, this year how the Jets linebacker reacted after he was summarily benched and not even told to his face that he was being benched. Just found out by looking at the cards on the table as to who was lining up where. Yeah. And for one game or part of one game, he started, running around the field like his head was cut off. And then after that, he settled in and became Mr. Mediocrity.
Right.
So I'm not looking for somebody from this is not the old school. This is the old school.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a young guy.
No.
I don't know if this guy really can relate to the players. And let's remember, most of the players the Jets have next year are going to be relatively young.
Yeah.
Because they're still, as they're doing now, they're still making waiver claims on guys that, were last week were working in a gas station, in Indianapolis. Because they were pretty good in college football 3 years ago, when somebody on the Jets coaching staff, looked at them and looked at the film and said, "Ooh, this guy looks like he might be able to be a player." Or the now famous quote that Aaron Glenn, had about our defensive end tackle Clemens. He looks like a football player.
Yes, that he does.
Well, he looked like a football player the whole year, but he looked like a football player who the other team was just pushing around all over the field. So Wink is not my ideal.
Okay.
I hope they talk to people like Jim Leonard.
Yes.
I hope we talk to other, young guys like, well, they already did the guy from Minnesota.
Yeah, Durante. Yep.
Glenn should have a staff of people who are younger than him, that are hipper than him, because he wants to be the boss.
Yeah.
That's okay to be the boss. When we saw, again, hearkening back to Parcells, we saw in Parcells' whole career that he wanted, when you came off the field, he wanted to let you know, that you just effed up. And he did it in front of the cameras, and he didn't care. And you didn't watch him too often going and hugging and kissing, guys coming off the field who had just played well. He would just smile at them and they'd walk by and go on somewhere else. So Glenn is the Papa Bear on the sidelines. And I think he needs a bunch of youngins out over there to help him relate to the players, but still be very solid and expert in their job, like our special teams coordinator was this year. I mean, he's a young guy, came out of nowhere on a recommendation and just lit it up. And in fact, by the way, NFL, the fact that you didn't put a single guy from the Jets special teams, on the All-Pro team or send them to the All-Star game is a joke.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
no Pro Bowlers, no first team All-Pro, no second team All-Pro, literally nothing. Yeah. So you could have made a very legitimate case at kicker, punter, kick returner. I mean, man, I was it just goes to show you, we always hear the cliche about you won't get the call from the officials if you're a crappy team. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we also now know you won't get the call from the league if you're a crappy team. I don't know how, if the players voted and that sort of thing, they all knew, particularly the second half of the season, we're going to kick it away from Isaiah Williams.
Yeah.
And if we can just push, the Jets beyond the 45-yard line, we won't have to worry about their kicker who makes every single field goal.
I'm seeing we'll go to some comments here. I also have a super chat I'll get to in a second. We have good guy Greg 55. I don't know if Banjo came out of nowhere. His name has been out there for a little while. I would really say he's been out of nowhere because if you think about Banjo, he played in the league for basically a decade. He immediately leaves and jumps into an assistant special teams role with the Broncos for 2 years. And then, boom, he's a coordinator. That is a rapid, unbelievable rise. And then he delivered. So, yeah, I would go with Bob. He really did come out of nowhere. A lot of people apparently thought highly of him, but no one pulled the trigger until the Jets to actually give him a full-time coordinator job and see what he would do.
Hey, if I in your opinion, misspoke about his credentials and how highly he was held in esteem in the league, then okay. I mean, it really doesn't make any difference. But he certainly wasn't a household name, in most football circles. You didn't see, all the scribes, all the gurus, all the podcasters, talking in the off season about, the Jets just got Chris Banjo. Whoa, better watch out, league, because here he comes.
Definitely not. I can confirm that did not occur. But speaking of fellow Jets podcasters out there, your favorite Jake Asman chimes in. Wow. Jake, you're up to 8 raffle tickets for a contest. Thank you. We have Charles London. Aaron Glenn has a plan. You know what? I'm glad that you brought this up, Jake, and thank you, because I want to throw this over to you, Bob, for a question, and it's this. How confident are you, right? Because, again, we're operating in silence right now. We have no idea what the hell's going on behind the scenes. How confident are you that Aaron Glenn is going to hire a defensive coordinator that makes us go, okay, all right, whoever this is? It doesn't have to be a home run hire, that it will make us go all right, decent hire. How confident are you that he will be able to bring this job will be attractive enough, and his pitch, whatever that will be to said person, will be enough to get a quality name in here or a quality resume or even a young guy with upside, that he will be able to accomplish that? What's your confidence level in that happening?
40-60.
Okay.
And the reason is that Aaron Glenn is walking on a tightrope.
Yeah.
And it's like walking on a tightrope. Remember those stunts over Niagara Falls?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's Aaron. It's where Aaron Glenn is. And he knows, especially now, not having a quarterback, that he can honestly feel good about drafting. And apparently the story came out this week, which I know you reported, that Woody was not at all happy at the end of the season by what he saw on the field.
Yeah.
And so, he may have been rah, rah, rah for Aaron Glenn, and we may continue to hear that. But behind the scenes, Woody's sharpening the blade. And I would be too. If you want to, we've heard a bunch of fans say, we got to support Aaron Glenn for a second year because he's one of us and he came from us and he knows what it's like to be a Jet and a winning Jet and a losing Jet. Well, to me, I'm not from Missouri, but show me anyway. Okay. If they could have gotten Harbaugh, I would have said, yippee-yi-yo, kaye, you know what?
Yeah.
Because he's got a track record. I mean, look at the effort. I was reading about the effort that the Giants made on a personal level.
Yeah.
To get Harbaugh. And going down to him, okay, well, I mean, the Jets went out to
California,
Aaron Rodgers, home and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the persuasiveness of talking this guy into the job. I mean, I heard all this week about the Giants tradition and all this and that and the other thing. Well, the last 15 years they've been terrible.
Yeah, just as bad as the Jets, to be honest.
I mean, hey, as a kid, I remember the Giants tradition. They were in the championship game every year, every other year until the mid-'60s. So that was a tradition. They had a tradition for about how long was Parcells the coach? They had a part, but in between those time frames. They were no better a team than anything else. And if you want to talk about how they're run, well,
Mhm.
I don't think there's any doubt because they are one of the original franchises and one of the very few franchises whose ownership hasn't changed, at least not entirely, since the league started. I think they and the Bears are the only ones, that still are like that. Maybe Detroit. I don't know if
The Ford family. Oh, that's a good
yeah,
one.
I don't know
Yeah.
if the Ford family was
The
in that very
McCaskies and Hallises. Yeah. Let's see.
yeah, the Hallises, but through the bloodlines, they're
Mhm.
still in the ownership. And by the way, they're getting ready to move to Indiana.
Oh my
So-
goodness. That's
So the Indiana Bears.
yeah.
But anyway, the Giants just did a great selling job, and it's a skill, and you got to have people who know how to relate to a person, this and that and the other thing. Aside from paying them $20 million a year,
Yeah, that helps.
that
Sure.
helps too. But
Yeah.
it's not that Woody has to worry, about his next check that he's getting from the Levi family.
Right.
So anyway, it's very disconcerting. It's not a good situation.
Now, this may be an obvious question, Bob, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you believe that Aaron Glenn is a lame duck here? That like another bad year and he's totally fired?
Oh, it's no doubt another bad year. He's gone.
Okay.
Because now he had to go to Woody this week and say, you know what, that plan we had about the quarterback and blah, blah, blah. It's pretty clear we're not going to be in that position. We may take a stab at somebody and pray. There are some guys out there that have great potential. Well, if those guys have great potential, you better line up a terrific, quarterbacks coach, and you better do it real quick. That's one of the other things I'm very concerned about. I said last week, where's the search for a quarterback coach?
Mhm.
That should be, priority along with defensive coordinator, because their defense is terrible, but it's going to be stacked with, defensive players as draft picks next year. I do believe. I think that's where they're going to go. They're going to go for the best player available, and it's going to be a lot of defenders after they get, a wide receiver. I think that will be their other, priority. But now Woody's got to be walking around saying, well, it's not his fault, that Dante Moore didn't come out, but Aaron promised me that we were going to have a way to do this. And I didn't tell Aaron to play the old tanking game for the last 6 weeks, but clearly that's what he did to try as his part of his master plan to get the quarterback we need, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So, why should I have continuing upper levels of confidence in him that he knows what he's doing and then he's doing it well? So, yeah, I think he's on a tightrope, and I think he's on a short leash at this point. I don't think they're going to necessarily fire him during the season.
Right.
Although I don't know if that would be a bad idea, because it alerts the whole league that, hey, the Jets need a really good coach, and they're going to spend a lot of money, and they're going to be looking, but hopefully this time they don't ask the 33rd team to help them pick somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Super chat's coming in. Easy.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Easy. By the way, you're up to 3 raffle tickets for our contest. More on that later. Qualified coaches will avoid the Jets because AG will be gone next year, and they'll be gone with him. This is the stupidest ownership team in history. Wow, it's very emphatic.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't you have reason to believe, if not actually know, that most of the assistants have multiple year contracts with the Jets?
That's true, right? So no one, if I'm whoever's getting hired a defensive coordinator,
Even Charles London.
Sure, right. So you're gonna get that's the thing. I would just, I'm sure people don't want to move their family all over the place, but if an assistant coach, whoever's getting hired as a defensive coordinator here, like, he's got to get a multi-year deal, and if he gets fired, he keeps all his money and then goes somewhere else and gets more money. So, like, I don't know. Like,
that's why Cleveland has, for the moment, said Jim Schwartz is going nowhere.
Right.
Because we've got him under contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it's for. We're going to interview him for the head coaching job, and if he isn't hired there, they might ask, or they might suggest to the guy they hire that Jim Schwartz should remain your coordinator, because everything is in place And look what a job he did this past year. And if I were that coach and I didn't have an ego, the size of a stadium, I would look at it and say, okay, that takes care of that problem. I don't have to go and find somebody.
All right, so let me throw this at you because, there's a lot of people that sort of have this take from EZ that again, qualified coaches may avoid the Jets because of this entire situation. So let me throw this out there to the universe because AG has hinted at this several times. What if AG bets on himself? What if AG, so he's going through this interview process and he goes, holy crap, I can't bring in the level of guy I wanted to. They're afraid of the job or whatever's going to happen. What if I call the defense. I call my shot. I say, you know what? I can't get a guy. Let me be the guy. I call the plays. And if he is successful in calling plays, that's a shot to the fans that say, what does Aaron Glenn do well as a coach? Apparently call defense. And he shows everybody in the world, hey, look, I can do this thing. And then maybe that gets him some credence, some belief from the fan base and buyback. What if he decides to do that, Bob? Your response would be what?
My response to that is, Paul, when's the last time a head coach did that? I mean, not just for a couple of games at the end of a season because they needed to make changes and they didn't have the luxury of telling the defensive coordinator, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. He decided to do it himself. When's the last time we went through a whole season, with a coach that was also running the defense or running the offense?
So
not a smart idea.
So this is just the internet. They said over half the league has NFL head coaches that call plays either on offense or defense. So currently in the that's what it says, the internet. When I Googled how many NFL head coaches call plays on offense or defense, and it says over half of the league does. So, but again, if you're a Jets fan, you have PTSD. You just saw Jeff Ulbrich do it in the middle of the season, and it was a disaster.
And being the defensive coordinator is not just calling plays on Sunday.
Sure.
It's being involved in the nitty-gritty of everything that goes on in preparation. But you've got a head coaching job responsibility. And that's an entirely different perspective that you have to, run and maintain.
Sure. No, there's no doubt. And he would probably hire some random person to be quote unquote defensive coordinator. And I imagine that's a lot of the extra stuff that we don't even know that goes on with being a coordinator. It's not just calling plays on Sundays. There's things throughout an entire week of game planning and prep and all kinds of things. But yeah, that would be my concern is that when Jeff Ulbrich did it, it was terrible. The defense that had been okay.
And he was the DC.
Right, correct. And he took on the head coaching responsibilities and it failed. Now, the counter of what I just said to myself is Jeff Ulbrich had to figure it out in the middle of the season. Saleh gets fired. They're like, hey, Jeff, we want you to be interim. He's like, hubbada. All right, are you going to call players? You're going to do this? And then it all lit on fire. In theory, if AG came to this conclusion somewhere in the next week or something, let's just say, he would have the entire months of offseason to prepare for this new task that he'd be taking on that he didn't take on last year. So hopefully months of preparation would be able to put him in a better position to do it if indeed he chooses to do this.
There's no way that can work because he's going to have a bunch of college kids who are coming in who need to be coached up on a very, very specific purpose. You got to have really good assistants under the DC to coach them up. And then he's going to have veterans who are going to come in, that are going to have to be acclimated to the Jets system, to Glenn's system, or that they're going to be teaching, the people, on the new Jets team that they're on about what needs to be done. I do not see that's at all feasible. Now, he may be able to, as you suggest, call the defense on Sunday, but he can't do the DC job. There is no way. And to me, if Aaron Glenn can't find a DC, to take this responsibility, that's another big Jake Asman, across his credentials.
Oh, 100%. And this is a thing to Jake, who may even still be in the comments, this conversation. And this can either shut Jake up. I don't know if it'll completely shut him up. This could potentially shut Jake up or add fuel to his fire. If AG comes with a home run hire, but again, I don't know the likelihood of what I'm about to say, but let's just say it happens. He hires Brian Flores, who's doing defensive coordinator interviews around the league. And I think a lot of us would go, wow, whoa, how
Yeah.
did he get that name to be like, man, AG must have connections around the league. I think a lot of detractors of AG, oh, he can't hire staff. Like they would be like, oh, just kidding. Look at that. That's a stud hire. If he hires some slappy that like people are like, who? Not even like a young upside guy. I mean, like an underwhelming. I don't even know who that would be.
Wink
Maybe
Martindale.
Wink Martindale. Apparently, for a lot of the fancy audience, they hire him. They're like, oh, and then adds fuel. See, AG had to give the job away because he couldn't find it. So, right, the results of said search, and also for your point, you've been pounding the drum, and I love it. Quarterback coach, what the hell's happening on offense? A lack of getting either someone underwhelming or getting no one of note, which would be the same thing. That would also be a detriment to AG. Like, yikes, he couldn't even do this in the most important critical offseason of his life. That's not a great sign for the upcoming 2026 season. So, we're going to have reactions based on who they hire. And again, it could tell a great story. Hopefully he gets a Flores level guy that would titillate me. That would be phenomenal. But obviously it could also go the other way, which would be not as ideal. But I do think there is a world where AG is the guy. And I don't know if it's because he's Superman and he wants to put on the cape, or he's forced to because he can't find a name. But either way, I'd be curious if he could balance it. So he may decide to bet on himself. And if he does and he's successful, maybe he, after a year of success, he would no longer be on the hot seat anymore, not directly anymore if he had a somewhat respectable season. And then he could give those duties off. Now that I imagine it'd be a little easier to hire people, that the firing squad wouldn't be lined up around AG the entire season. So that could potentially change the equation.
Did you see? I know you saw it, but do you recall the email I sent you last week about the most qualified quarterback coaches based on accomplishment?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Arians.
My guy who brought up last week. Yeah.
Now he is 73 years old.
Yeah, he's a little
like that. I'm 73 years old.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with age.
And he is an assistant, an advisor on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
But his accomplishments are such that, to me, you reach out to him and say, "Hey, would you be willing to come up here and spend at least the summer and our training camp?" And then to work individually with somebody, that we draft, because I think they are going to draft somebody. In fact, I'd be shocked if they don't use one of their picks, to get the kid from Alabama. But
Ty Simpson, interesting.
Yeah, I just think they're going to. We got to have somebody in here.
that I can confirm. Somebody has to.
And don't forget that I told you, and I keep reminding everybody, the year the Jets drafted Namath, they also drafted John Ewart. They played the long game and said, we got to have somebody in here who's going to be able to do it. And we don't care which one it is. Now, Ewart was there on reputation and Namath was there on skill level. And it became pretty clear early on. On the other hand, Ewart went to the college all-star game while Namath stayed in camp that year. And Ewart lit up the NFL champions in the college all-star game. So, who can really tell ahead of time? But I think the Jets are going to have to draft somebody. Maybe it's going to be Chambliss. I watched your draft program the other day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, he's elusive and he's got a pretty strong arm. Doesn't have the size, that is really good. But at least you'd have somebody you could work with, for the next year and see what he can do and shock. Maybe you'll be shocked by what these kids, grow up and mature into. You never know. But somebody also suggested this week that maybe trading out of that number 2 and getting 2 picks, including another number 1 next year. So they'd have 4 number 1s next year, which would put them in a prime position, no matter where they finish record-wise, to move up, and get the quarterback that they really want. That, and I'm sorry, but next year is tank time again. And this time, and I hate to do it too, but this time, do it right. Be honest with yourself, and that is, we got to get the first pick. We have to have the first pick. We can't play around and hope this is going to happen, go into the last week of the season and say, oh, if these 8 games all line up the way we want them to, we can move from number 3 to number 2. And if Arizona, and if the Raiders win and the Giants lose, we can be number. I mean, come on, it's
Bob, 8 months from the season and we're in tank mode again. I just can't do this. I have to do a daily Jet show on this godforsaken
I want to
team.
be able to sleep well next year.
It's just, and you're not the first person that said this about the tanking, but I'm like, good Lord, I'm this optimistic Jets fan who woohoo every game. I'm going to be doing a tailgate this year, and then 8 months you're like, this is the tanking year, folks.
I'm only being a little facetious.
But there's a lot of people that are dead serious on social media that say absolutely the Jets need to light this entire season on fire, sacrifice Aaron Glenn to the football gods, and then we have a cajillion picks and we go get another head coach and go get another thing. That would be brutal.
I don't think that being that bad again would help us recruit a really good coach.
Probably not, but because where the Jets are at, so because the Jets finished at number 2 overall, there's no longer the temptation to do something crazy. Again, unless the Raiders are going to trade Fernando Mendoza, which I doubt. So putting that aside, the temptation of doing something crazy, because if the Jets were at, I don't know, 5 or 6 and Dante Moore would have entered this class, we'll get your thoughts on Dante Moore in a second. They could have been tempted to go, ooh, this is the guy. Sacrifice a bunch of the picks next year. Let's go get Dante Moore. Now that Dante Moore is removed from the equation and the Jets pick at 2 anyway, so they wouldn't have had to trade. Now those picks are safeguarded. They're safeguarded. Yeah. So let's get your thoughts on that, Bob. Dante Moore not coming out in a Sports Center special of all places to announce that to the world. Thank you, Dante, for that. And he would have very likely have been the selection for the Jets at 2nd overall. Now he's not there anymore. It's a wide open field at 2. What was your reaction to that news?
Well, I'm obviously, if you want him to be in the game so that you've got more to play with, that would have been the benefit. But when I watched that game against Indiana last week, having already read about how he had been less than Sterling, in the first playoff game that he was involved in, even though his team won.
Sure.
I'm happy for him that he decided to go back because I think that's what he needs. But I would not have been of the school to draft him number 2 pick. Okay. I don't think he would have been ready until mid to the end of the second year as a pro.
Oh wow!
I mean, he had so much to learn, and you can't learn by not playing. And he would have been beaten up mercifully, if not physically, by the New York media. Like, well, what is it with this guy? Why can't he get rid of the ball? I didn't really see the maneuverability, the flexibility, the elusiveness, or the arm strength. Oh, he's got somebody I read said he's got a better arm, than.
By the way, is that the bat phone? What's going on over there? Is it the Justice League? What's happening here?
That is my family in Israel calling me.
Wow. Do you need to take the call? Is this?
Well, this is the second time they rang. Next time I'll pick up and say, okay, I'm on television. I can't talk to you right now.
See, there you go. Okay, it could be an emergency.
But anyway, I think he made the right call for himself, and I don't think that he was, even a safe choice. Even with the best coaching, you need to play in order to really, hone your skills and refine your capabilities and actually be out there and reading a defense and changing plays at the line of scrimmage. You know what I did on Monday, January the 12th, 2026, Paul?
What's that?
I sat down and I watched Super Bowl III again.
Oh, how was that?
It was heartwarming.
You want something heartwarming? Here you go, folks. Here, I'll throw this up on the screen. Here's something heartwarming for you. Okay. I had to work late last night. I was doing all kinds special. Yeah, here you go. Yep. And I was working late last night, and I got this little notification around like 11:45 at night or something. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And I'll bring it up on the screen. This is what came up on my screen. This notification right here, folks. It's this. Did you know 15 years ago yesterday, Paul, you posted this. I said, wow, what did I post on January 15, 2011? Watching football, Ravens at Steelers. Man, I wonder who's going to play against the Jets in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And I am just left to say a line I've said a few times this week from The Office. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. The Jets had punched their ticket already to the conference championship game, and I had my feet kicked up. Barker Lounder said, who the hell are the Jets going to play? Who's going to have the right to play the Jets for a trip to the Super Bowl? As I just sat there, Raven Steelers, who's it going to be? And,
one missed field goal from Super Bowl. You're punching your ticket to the Super Bowl.
Unbelievable. And so 2011, that was 15
when
years ago yesterday.
I haven't watched Super Bowl III in probably 2-3 years. And, and I saw things that I had forgotten. And it was just marvelous to look at these relatively young guys who had played together for 4 years with Namath, who just put it together that day. And they got breaks, but they made those breaks. It's funny, right after that on Tuesday morning, I happened to be doing a search after I watched your show. And lo and behold, I find Bubba Smith coming on a talk show and saying the game was fixed.
See, isn't that fitting?
And his evidence was,
okay.
First of all, he said, we got inside the 20-yard line 4 times in the first half and didn't score. Okay, admittedly, that is true. Your quarterback play that afternoon in the first half was pretty terrible. Or as one Colts player said to me, Earl Morrall had been in a dream state during the whole regular season, and we on the team were just hoping he wasn't going to wake up. Well, he woke up that day, and the Jets benefited from it. Oh, and the other evidence that Bubba had is that he got in a cab after being thrown out of the victory party that the Colts had. Imagine if they had a victory party.
Oh my, wow.
And Bubba was getting into fights with people because, hey, I give him credit. He said, we lost today. What are we celebrating? We not only lost, but we lost in a game that we should have won, and we lost in a game that did discredit to us as a team. But here's his other piece of evidence. He got in a cab, and the cab said, Bubba, don't you realize that, all the smart money was on the Jets this week? And that was his evidence that the game had been a fix.
I see.
Is there a reason why our friends in the family in Israel is calling me on my computer? Was there anything they wanted to say or do or something?
Your daughter?
Could be my daughter, could be my grandkids. Okay, no, my wife said she doesn't know. So anyway.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what I did Monday night and Tuesday morning, and because I wanted to feel good about this team.
Yes.
And after it, I not only did I feel good about it, but I recalled then and wonderfully loved hearing Al DiRegata saying, the Colts players told us all week that the Jets have great linebackers. It's like having extra defensive backs. And look at that offensive line, and they name them one by one, and they give them all the credit, for, as I said to John Schmidt when I first talked to him, thank you for keeping Joe upright his whole career.
I love that.
Joe only got sacked once, and then he had to kind of scramble a second time, and they knocked him down. But it's just a pleasure to see a professionally run team that knows what it's doing, and that, as Weeb and Al Davis both subscribe to, playing with poise, not getting rattled, and just doing what they knew they could do. In fact, I also ran into an interview with Namath on Tuesday morning, and he said after the game, that do you realize that our last 4 games of the season, our offensive line didn't get called for one penalty, and in reviewing the film, they didn't blow one assignment.
Terrific.
Actually, it wasn't entirely true because the first of those 4 games was the Heidi game, and they had to make a change on the offensive line. But after that, they were rock solid. And boy, I mean, even when I heard that, I'd never even thought about that. They didn't miss an assignment.
It's pretty good.
It's unbelievable, and no penalties. Where have we seen that before?
Yeah.
So this Jet team has so much work to do. As I said before, I think, and talking about who we draft, we go aside from wide receiver, and they should have a pick of 3 or 4 pretty good ones, supposedly.
Of course, yeah.
You just, to me, you go for the best player available. It doesn't matter what defensive position they play because we don't have, standouts just about anywhere. And you want a guy that has the best chance of being a 10-year starter in the league and a multiple-time All-Star. And so, it doesn't matter if you take this defensive lineman or this tackle or this safety, although drafting safeties with the second pick is considered ridiculous. But you got to get players who are going to be the core of the defense that they've got to build basically from scratch.
100%. By the way, we have 300 people in the room. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. 100 plus of those 300 are on YouTube. We only have 45 likes, but over 100 people in the room. Let's change that. Like that video, folks, and spread the love. We are doing a raffle. If you're new to the channel, we're doing a raffle this month, as we do every month here on the channel. We're giving away a Jets polo, a Jets rivalry hat. All those are brand new. A Jets mint coin from this season. It comes with a certificate of authenticity from the National Football League with the beautiful Jets logo on it, and our Boy Green Woody tailgate package. We also have a Boy Green merch shop down below, and we will include a brand new mug and shirt from that into this package as well. So if you guys want a chance to win all these fabulous prizes, all you have to do is spend $3 on the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that little money sign, and super chat, super sticker, gift channel memberships, any of that will do and get you in the running. And Bob, this week we introduced the brand new Boy Green Espresso Club. So there's a coffee club for people that want to join on YouTube. Now we have an espresso club, and I've been doing all kinds of storytelling on that with some members-only content for the fans. I've been taking them around my house and explaining all kinds of crazy stories and things that are going on and family and activities. And later this month, we'll have our members-only live stream for all the Boy Green Espresso Club members. Again, if you're a Boy Green Coffee Club member, you can upgrade to the Espresso Club in the top right-hand corner, or you can also do it in the YouTube description down below to join in with our new membership level. So 2 membership levels, either way is great. We have the Boy Green Coffee Club and the Boy Green Espresso Club.
And I assume you get 2 raffle tickets when you join the upper echelon club.
It's actually 5 bonus raffle tickets.
Whoa!
Bob, to incentivize
Listen to that, Boy Green fans.
Again, the raffle tickets are $3 a piece, but just to jump to the $6 level, you get 5. That math doesn't math, but you're welcome, people. That is all there for the audience. 100%. So, folks, make sure you take full advantage of that here as well. Well, the people are begging for it. So, without further ado, Bob, let's play a quick timeout, and we'll welcome in all the phone calls. I think people have things to say to you, Bob. Hopefully, they're good.
All right, bring it on.
All right, we'll see.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. All right. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S, Jets. Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. All right. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Nice. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go!
Let's go, everybody. I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. Welcome to Boy Green Daily. This is a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate you. Again, like the video, hit subscribe. We got a surge in new subscribers yesterday, so thank you, everyone who decided to join the army as we continue our chase to 10,000 subscribers. We're only now a few shekels away from 8,300, which is spectacular. Yeah, we're 6 people away from 8,300. So if you're watching out there in the YouTube streets, hit that subscribe button, baby. Again, every Friday, we are graced by the presence of the wonderful Bob Lederer here on the program. And now there are people that want to call in and say things to you, Bob. I'm sure they're all good. There's going to be nothing bad here.
Keep it clean, fans. Keep it clean.
All right, Bob, do you want to introduce our first guest?
Here's Hef.
There he is. And the brand new Boy Green coffee mug from the merch shop, baby. Ooh, very nice.
Boy, you're hitting every chord here.
Well,
There you go. May, did you ever feel that in life it was like a tuxedo and you're a pair of brown shoes?
So what did you think of Dante saying maybe next year?
I'm really relieved. They would have thrown that kid into the pit. He would have been torn up,
Bad
This is
enough,
yeah.
having to learn on the job, but having to learn on the job in New York.
Yeah, that's rough. But I was thinking that maybe with the Espresso Club, you could have a sit down, rewatch the Super Bowl III with Bob one time. That might be
That would be a
thing.
lot of fun. Sure,
I mean,
that could be.
right?
That'd be an interesting thing to do.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and man, Bob could tell all kinds of stories. Yeah, that
We
would.
could stop it, go back, do things. It would be really
Yeah,
kind
notice this, notice that. That's actually
It's a great idea, Hep. Great idea.
interesting idea. Yeah.
We got some time in the offseason. Now, this is my plan.
Okay.
I told Boy Green this. I don't see us winning a lot of games next year. We really have the gauntlet next year. So AG has to show some improvement somewhere where he can say, like, look, I know we really were up against it this year. We had a really hard schedule, but look at the improvements we've had. And I think the easiest way to do that is the offense. And I think the offense, if we draft Jeremiah Love, one of the blue chippers, then takes care of the Breece Hall situation. And then what we do is we get another center and then possibly a guard. Then I like the receivers that we brought in. I mean, they're not the best, but I think they're pretty good receivers. And I think with GW over there, I think we could actually a pretty decent offense. I think
Do you agree they should make a priority getting another wide receiver and cut from college?
If it comes to them, maybe at 16 or something like that. If it falls to them, like someone, I don't know about Lemon. He's a little small. I'd like to have a big kid that's a possession receiver, like a Mike Evans kind of player, to complement GW.
And none of the guys that were mentioned are speed merchants.
Yeah, so I don't know. The Lemon seems a little small for me, but he's twitchy. But I don't know. Those guys get
very elusive, and he's great yak.
Yeah. So, but we had the Yak King, and he didn't do poop.
That's true. Yeah, that didn't work out.
He's also great at getting open, but.
Oops. But that's all I have for today, guys. I'm a little under the weather, so I'll talk to you on the rebound.
All right, Hef.
Take care. Have a good weekend. Feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah. Feel better, Hef, for sure. Another one of your buddies, DNY for Life, a.k.a. Devin here, has a beautiful super chat shout out he'd like to give.
Wow.
A member for 18 months. We should have an award for such a thing. Good morning, BG and Bob. Bad boys move in silence, AG. Okay, again, that's in case you missed it earlier. Again, we have heard nothing on the defensive coordinator search, which makes us think, what the hell's going on? And I reached out to Connor Hughes, who's posting all these gosh darn Giant updates. Hey, can you throw us a bone over here? And he says that basically, no leaks. They are interviewing people this week. We're just not hearing about them. So, again, he believes after the first round of interviews are complete, so if the Jets have 5 guys, 10 guys, whatever, hey, here's everyone we talked to for defensive coordinator, and then we'll be able to sort of vet and sort and sort of see who they've been talking to, and then maybe there'll be a second round of interviews, or if they just go through that first round and go, this is the guy. We'll see. So Connor Hughes provided that update. So, again, they move in silence, like the G in lasagna, silent. We will see if that is indeed the case, Devin. So appreciate that very much. All right, we've got a lot of phone calls here, Bob, a lot of phone calls here. Let's go to, this is historic, Bob. We have never had a reigning league MVP on the show. So are you ready for that sort of royalty?
I'm ready for anything today.
All right, let's go to the reigning MVP, Josh Alon Avatal. Oh, I see.
Well, you called it.
It was
very
close.
beginning.
I did, Bob.
And again, we are privileged. We're not
yeah.
worthy. We're not worthy.
Good morning, Paul, and Boker Tov, Bob. couple of comments before I take Paul Poi Green Esden to the woodshed.
Oh God, what did I do
First,
now?
here's my
Okay.
comment.
Okay.
I commend Dante Moore, but most of all, I commend his parents, because it would have been very easy for him to grab the money. And I remember I had read an interview early this year about the parents and how they had spoken to Dan Lanning and how they had spoken to Will Stein and how important it was for them to see Dante's development go through completely. And
all the way up.
he's getting beat up a lot for not taking the money, but
Yeah.
I give him complete credit for going back to school and finishing up what he needs to do to be a true top tier quarterback on the next level.
But very risky, no? Like, because again,
Risky, but it's the right move. I'll give you another guy I give credit to, and that's Dylan Raiola. So Dylan Raiola was a top tier recruit in 2024. He was, I think, a top 5 overall recruit. And he was told when he moved over to Oregon that there was a chance that Dante was going to come back. And I think the best thing for Dylan is that he gets his redshirt year.
I think he must have known. Like, this is speculation. I think for sure that, like, I know everyone else in the universe, like, oh, that means this, that means this. I think they're very honest with Dylan that, hey, man, like, it's going to be this Dante Moore, Dylan Gabriel thing, but reverse, it's going to be you. I think he knew. And again, I'm not a doctor with the injury situation. I don't know when he's going to be ready anyway, but I think he knew. That's what my gut tells
me. And I
me.
think it's the right move for him. I think he needs to watch. I think he was thrown into the Wolves early on at Nebraska for 2 years. And again, he broke his fibula actually at the end of last season. So I think it's best for him to watch for a year. And then in 27, he has an opportunity to lead a top 5 program. So I give him a lot of credit as well. Now it's time to take you to task.
So hold on a second. So you think Dante is going to come out after next year?
I think Dante will be a top 10 pick in the 27 draft.
Right?
I think Dylan Raiola.
He's going to have to make a huge leap in his, quarterbacking generalship.
Dante Moore, I think he'll be a top 10 pick in the 27 draft. Guaranteed. Yes. He may not be a top 5 pick, but he'll be a top 10 pick.
And which quarterback will he be in that class, do you think?
I think Arch will be in that class. I don't think Arch will ever step foot as a Jet. Even if the Jets had the number 1 pick, his family will
come home,
never,
Arch.
ever
March
allow
for
him
Arch,
to
Jake says.
He'll never be a Jet. No way.
Do you think it's worth the Jets taking a stab in a late round at Allard or Nussmeier?
I'm more intrigued by Nussmeier because he has that pedigree, being his dad has been coaching in the league. I'm more inclined to draft Nussmeier in the 3rd round than I am drafting Ty Simpson.
We don't have a 3rd rounder.
No, I'm talking about if they trade down, and I think that's what they do. I have no interest in drafting.
At least he played this year, so he got some experience under his belt.
Sure.
So now I need to take Paul to task. I watched one of your shorts earlier this week, and you made the distinction of saying that it was a devastating blow to the Jets that Dante Moore went back to school. It was something like that.
Sure. That sounds about right. Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, why? First of all, the last thing I want the Jets and this regime to do is to ruin a kid's development, have him sit out the entire year, which he would have. And unfortunately, if they would have stunk up the joint in the beginning of 27 or 26, they would have brought him in maybe week 8. He wouldn't be ready, and they would completely destroy his development. So I think what Dante Moore and his reps did is they took the decision out of the Jets' hands and gave the Jets pretty much a mulligan, because I think the Jets would have taken him at 2. Yeah, and I think the Jets would have forced themselves, if they had started 26 poorly, they would have forced themselves of playing him a little too soon. And
I think Glenn had put himself in that position too with Woody.
Absolutely.
That this was going to be part of the plan. We're going to get our quarterback. Here's our quarterback.
Yeah,
And-
and I would say this just to explain the initial part of devastating. As so, I did a couple of
Yeah.
shorts
Yes.
as soon as it happened. As soon as the
Mhm.
news came through, I recorded a couple of things. And my initial thought on the devastating news was, first off, the pick, as we have all talked about for weeks, I believe the pick was a lot more valuable if Dante was in it. Whether the Jets wanted him or another team would have wanted him, Arizona, Cleveland could have traded it. That sucks for the Jets that he's not in it, because either way, that I thought that would have been good news. And then the other part is this immediate dopamine rush. I was just thinking about this as I was doing laundry in my basement and just sitting in the dark. I just went like, man, like, to have a quarterback is just this exciting thing that we all like. That's the hope that we're going to get out of this shithole. And like, he's going to be the guy to do it. And it's this unwrapped package. It's even more interesting for Dante because like all of us sort of agreed that he shouldn't play immediately. So he'd continue to sort of be this unwrapped thing that gave us hope no matter what the hell is going on. But we got Dante marinating in the oven over there. That's going to be great. So him being removed at that moment in time for me is like, wow, there is literally no immediate quarterback long-term hope. Could they do the Ty Simpson thing or Chambliss in the second round or wherever is going to happen? Yeah, sure. But that's not going to have the same impact as a number 2 overall pick quarterback who all these people think could be a franchise quarterback. So the immediate dopamine rush would have been amazing, and that was devastating. As days have passed and things have gone on, there is everything you just said. Is there a chance that AG this season goes to shit here in 2026 and he's tempted to pull every lever in self-preservation, and by throwing Dante Moore out there, even if he agreed he didn't want to put him out there, he threw him out there for his own job, and if he showed anything, hey, you don't want to get a Rittman of me, that's my guy, I'm developing and all that. Yes, that would have sucked. And also, here's the other thing that just hit me as we're all sitting here. If the Jets take Dante Moore too, is there any chance they Josh Rosen his ass? So if they don't play him for half the year, and then half the year he sort of looks mediocre, and the Jets have all these first round picks in 27, are they just going to light Dante Moore on fire then not go? Or are we going to go back to 2017 where 2016 we draft Christian Hackenberg with the top 55 pick, and then we're like, oh, well, we can't give up on him yet. It could be a franchise quarterback in there. So then they say, we'll take Jamal Adams. Now, Jamal Adams is a first-team All-Pro. They trade him. We get Garrett Wilson. So all kinds of NFL things happen after we take him. But again, in the moment, they didn't even consider Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes because they're like, well, we have this guy. The Jets could have done that. That's another net negative that could have happened if they took Dante Moore and the results were inconclusive after the first year. They're like, well, we can't just give up on him. We need to do other stuff. And that could be sacrificing the chance at what draft experts are saying are better quarterback options. And now Dante's in that class as well. So that's the other part of it that makes me feel a little bit better since we've gone through it. So I don't know if it's just rationalization in my head that I'm just trying to convince myself this is the better thing, or whether it actually is the better thing. I'm not sure.
And one final comment on Ty Simpson.
Yes, sir.
There were reports last week that Miami offered him $6.5 million to transfer there this year. And
right, and still drop out of the draft, apparently.
To drop out of the draft and transfer there. So they offered him $6.5 million. And he decided, no, I'm good. I'll go to the draft. As little as I wanted to draft Dante Moore at 20 years old with less than 20 starts, that's even less with Ty Simpson, who's going to be 24 next December with 15 collegiate starts. The best thing for Ty Simpson, and he better pray this happens, is Matthew Stafford comes back one more season and the Rams take him, they stash him on the bench, and they do not even remotely look at him for the 2026 season.
What a great spot for him.
No desire for the Jets to draft him in the first round at 33. To me, the earliest I would actually think about drafting a quarterback, and I don't even know if I would do this, is I would take Chambliss at 44, and I don't even know if I would even do that. Honestly, I would rather trade 33 down, accumulate another maybe day 2 pick, and draft a Nussmeier in the 3rd round and see what you have in him and go get your quarterback in 2027. Okay. This team needs bodies that are not quarterbacks. They don't need projects. They need players all over the field. You have 4 picks in the top 44. You have the ability to maneuver down the draft, okay? I don't think they'll trade back of 2 because I don't think there's going to be a team in the 4 to 7 range that's going to covet that second pick. The pick I think that the Jets will reap benefits for will be pick 33 because right after day 1, the Jets have the top pick in the second round, and that's where teams will start calling. And if I were the Jets, I would maneuver that pick to try to get additional picks and hopefully maybe with that third round pick to draft a Nussmeier, or in my dream, as I've said this for a while, hopefully they can call the Eagles and see what it would take to go get Tanner McKee. That is the guy I want as our quarterback. Unfortunately, end result, I have a feeling the Jets quarterback to start the 2026 season will be Kyler Murray. I do.
Hey, by the way, real quick, what's up with your boy Tanner McKee? Week 18 was his perfect audition to raise his stock of a potential trade price.
Did not play great. He did.
What's going on?
But you know what? I guarantee he will be traded if he gets dealt, because there's still talk in that Eagle room that they don't want to trade him. If he is put on the market right now, I think there will be a team. There'll be multiple teams that will call the Eagles and offer top 75 picks to go get.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
Because he's making $1.2 million next year. He's 6'5". He's been in the system for 3. I have a question. If you're the Steelers, I would absolutely take a chance on him. If you're the Colts, I would take a chance on him. Absolutely. I'd rather go get him at $1.2 million than try to bring in Kyler Murray, who's been an absolute bum for the last couple of years. That's what I would do if I were the Jets. But I think AG will be so desperate. He will want that quick fix. And I think the Jets starting quarterback next year will be Kyler Murray, unfortunately. That's
so you agree with me. Best player available is who they pick?
I think they'll take Reese if they stay at 2. I would try to trade down. If I was Muji, what I would do is I would try to pin the Giants against the Titans, because I think they're both going after the same player. I think they're both going after a top tier wide receiver. I think the Titans are at 4 and the Giants are at 5. Hopefully one of those teams will try to trade up to 2, and maybe the Jets can pick up a couple of day 2 picks if they trade back. I think Reese has the biggest upside. My love is for Caleb Downs, but I don't think they'll draft the safety up high. But again, I think Reese will be the second pick in the draft, and I think he'll be a Jet.
Okay, so you predict that Kyler Murray is going to be a starting quarterback of the Jets, even though that's not what you want to happen. Okay, what is the entry point of said thing? So again, there's a chance he could get cut and just signs. There's a chance he gets traded. Okay, he ends up on the Jets. How did he get from point A to point B? Did he take the train? Did he take the car? How did he get here?
I think the way the Jets will try to do it is I think they'll try to trade for him and hopefully and take a sweetener in the deal. So I would want a 27 first to take his contract. I doubt that will happen. But I think if I'm the Jets, at minimum, I would go get the early second rounder this year and maybe an additional pick. Again, he's making $35 million if he gets dealt, and he's not a $35 million quarterback anymore. I think it's either of those. And I think Kyler Murray is going to be the Jets starting quarterback. I don't want it. I don't think he'll be successful here. But again, AG is going to be so desperate to go get a guy. And I think he's the guy that makes the most sense, because I don't think Malik Willis will sign here. And I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to have any interest in coming here.
Okay? Captain Kirk.
I just don't see it. But that's me in a nutshell.
Is mutual.
That's me in a nutshell. But again, I'm very glad Dante Moore made the decision for the Jets, because the Jets would have fucked that up. And they would have. And you know they would, Paul. They would have drafted him. They would have started 26, 2-7. They would have played the kid. He would have looked like crap. All the fans would have destroyed the franchise, and they would have buried the kid. So
from what we've seen so far, we don't even know who they would have brought in as the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah. We still don't know. That's a TBD at this point.
The Jets will get their 5th choice at quarterback coach, and they will get their 7th choice as DC.
Lovely.
Okay. And I think Wink will be the DC, and it will lead to a lot of problems with the Jets organization. Again, I don't think Glenn will be the coach in 27. So I think the Jets are a 3 to 5 win team next year.
Great.
And as I said this right now, okay, if the Jets have the number 1 pick in the 26th draft, they will be forced to trade the pick because Arch Manning will
27.
The 27 draft, sorry.
Yeah.
I think the Jets will be forced to trade the pick.
What if you hire Eli as the quarterback?
Let me just say this. I don't give a shit. If we have the number 1 overall pick and Archie's like, I don't want to go, I'm going to tell him this. I'm going to say, hey, buddy, I just want to make this perfectly bleeping clear. I'm going to draft you, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And that's what happened with Caleb, right? There was all those, like, the Bears, and him and his dad were exploring the ways. And basically, Ryan Poles, that I think it was the Combine, is in Seth Wickersham's book. I think I have it over here, Seth Wickersham's book. And they just basically went, we're taking you, so you can do whatever the hell you want. That's what we're doing. And then Caleb and his dad were like, well, I guess we're going to the Bears. So that's what I'm doing to Arch. If he is the number 1 overall pick to be, and the Jets have the pick, there is no way on this blue earth that I am trading that pick because they don't want to do it.
Paul, in conclusion, Paul, you have a better chance of being the starting quarterback than Arch Manning for the Jets.
Okay.
Okay. Arch Manning will never be the starting quarterback.
Paul's been working on stilts, so he's getting ready.
He definitely will. But I'm very happy that Dante made the decision, and I hope Indiana blows out Miami on Monday night. Always a pleasure.
Before we lower ourselves and allow you to depart.
Sure.
If Tomlin actually does spend the next year on TV, would you want to try to entice him to be the next coach?
I have no desire to trade for Mike Tomlin. No.
Well, no. I'm not saying no. You wouldn't
have to trade for him.
You do?
Yes.
The only thing you would have to acquire him, whatever. Rooney, from some of the Steelers reporting, there may be a way where they sort of give a handshake where it's not the crazy prices that it has been in the past out of respecting for Tom. I've seen that from some Steelers reporters this week. So it'd still be some sort of a trade, but that they wouldn't bend over the barrel whoever Tomlin wants to go to give up the iron price. I heard some of that reporting, but again, it's presumptive because, again, he's not coaching it all this year. So
how much is left on his contract?
2 years.
He has 2 years left. Paul, the Jets have 3 number 1s. You don't think the Steelers will ask for one of those number 1s?
Oh, I'm sure they would. I'm just saying I saw from some of the Steelers reporting.
I don't need to. And I know people love Mike Tomlin, and he's been a lifer in Pittsburgh. Guy hasn't won a playoff game in 10 years, and I just don't think he's the coach that I want going forward. I want an innovative mind.
Okay.
If it was McVay, if it was O'Connell, if it was Shanahan, I'd be more intrigued. I have no desire for Mike Tomlin. I know that the great Jake Asman said he would trade the number 2 pick overall for Mike Tomlin. I almost fell out of my chair when I read that because that might have been the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Did you hear that, Jake? Did you hear that, Jake?
Oh boy,
he knows. Me and Jake don't get along. It's fine.
They
Jake's
don't at all.
Stupid, but
so
again, I am not trading the 2nd pick in the draft for Mike Tomlin. Okay, that's idiotic to the core.
Josh,
again, bottom line, it's been a pleasure. And when you talk about Dante Moore, remember I was right. Thank you very much.
There he is. Yeah, he always is. That damn Alon, man, he is always right.
You know, all right, when you're right, you're right.
Yeah, that's true. Let's get a super chat in here from our guy Lou B, Super Jets fan.
Wow.
Thank you for the $2 super chat, Lou B. Then we'll get back to the phone lines here. Is there any amount we could offer Jim Schwartz to be DC? So first off, the first thing that needs to happen, and it has nothing to do with the money thing, is the Browns have to hire a head coach. And once they hire a head coach, it's up to the head coach. All the reporting says the Browns, whoever they hire, are going to recommend, please keep Jim Schwartz. And the new head coach could say, no, see ya. And Jim Schwartz is gone. And then all of a sudden, now this is a conversation. Right now, it's not a conversation. He can't make a lateral jump from one team to another. He is currently under contract with the Browns. So it's not even a money thing. It's a nothing thing. He is unabavailable. However,
I might even suggest that the Browns ownership would tell the head coach to be, we want to hire you, but you have to keep Jim Schwartz. It's like when Ditka became the coach of the Bears, and he was told, you will keep Buddy Ryan as the DC. And it worked out well on the field. It didn't work out well off the field.
Well,
But he was told what he had to do, and you'd have to be, if you're a head coach, you would have to be out of your mind at this point not to want Jim Schwartz.
I agree, and the same thing for again down in Atlanta. Jeff Ulbrich is under contract. They are recommending to whoever the head coach is, keep Jeff Ulbrich, and they could say no. But I feel even better about Jim Schwartz, obviously, than I do Jeff Ulbrich. I think you would be nuts if I was Mike McDaniel, let's just say, who interviewed in Cleveland, and I'm an offensive guy. Have Jim Schwartz be the mastermind of the defense. Why wouldn't you want that? That's terrific.
He's playing against him every year, so he knows exactly what he's dealing with.
Right. So yeah,
and
they would be nuts.
Also, if I'm Jim Schwartz and they hire a new coach, you say, hey, I need to have my comfort level. So you need to tack on 3 more years to my contract here, guaranteed that I'm going to get paid no matter what happens with this new head coach. So that can happen too.
Yeah, for sure. So again, at this point, Luby, it's not about money. It's about whoever the Browns' next head coach is. But again, I would do unbelievable things to get Jim Schwartz to be the next defensive coordinator. He's just a mastermind. Again, he's won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. That was back in 2017 with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a really smart mind, former NFL head coach way back in the day, which I imagine would be incredibly valuable to AG. But could he get that kind of big fish? He would earn a lot of respect from the audience if he could. Let's go to a familiar face, to the Bob Lederer residence.
Uh-oh.
Bobby Jr. is called in. Whoa.
I would say good morning, but it doesn't.
Unmasked.
Yes.
I would say good morning, but I don't think any morning is good in Jets land.
Bobby Jr., it's good to see you, pal.
Thank you. It's good to be on. By the way, I've got a good friend of mine who's also trying to call in.
Ooh, okay. All right. Who is this good friend? Do you have like a nickname for him?
Yank. I think his name is Yank.
Okay, well, let's bring him on. Okay, Yank is now here.
How's it going? Injecting some youth into this broadcast.
Good to see you, Mr. Lederer. It's been a while.
Oh God, Yank, how are you doing?
Suffering.
Just another year in paradise. Huh?
I'm just resigned to never seeing my Jets win a Super Bowl.
Okay, so fellow Jets guy. It's good that we've balanced the scales here again. Good.
I don't think there's quite the balance that we're looking for there between the anti-Jet and the Jet fan, but at least we have something.
It's just awful out there. It's awful.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So, what did you think about Dante Moore deciding no Jets? Nah, don't think so.
I mean, personally, I'm against this narrative that whoever the Jets are drafting, if it's a QB, he's better going to the Raiders or someone else than the Jets.
I know. That's so stupid.
I mean,
literally.
The Jets have 2 all-pro tackles. They have an all-pro wide receiver. They'll probably bring back Brees if it's whether they sign him to a contract or they'll franchise tag him. Like wherever you're going, if it's a top 5 pick, it's not ideal. And I know there's a chemical reaction that happens when you're a Jet that makes you half as good as you should be. But why would you go to the Raiders? They've had 5 coaches in 5 years?
6.
They've had 6 coaches in 6 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize. I knew that the last first-round quarterback they took was terrible. It was Jamarcus Russell, purple drink in 2007. Yeah, he was awful. But like Dane Brugler did a story on the Raiders, and I think in the modern era they've taken 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the first round in their history, and all of them have been terrible. All of them have gone off the rails. So, but the Jets are the albatross. We got to stay away from them. What? Look in the mirror, Raiders. Jesus.
And Dante Moore will probably fail. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mark Davis might move the team to Des Moines next year if they get a big enough offer.
Yeah, I mean, whoever the Jets draft will probably fail, but that's irregardless of the talent around them, you know. So,
but
you enjoyed the tankathon this year along.
I mean, are we going to tank? Are we just going to try to tank if we're getting a Kyler? I mean, maybe, but I think Glenn has to win games and.
Do you think Kyler is the guy that's going to win games for them?
Who? No, but if they go Kyler, then they're trying to win games.
I agree. Yes, that's the plan if they're trying to. Okay, Yank, you tell us. Who do you want to be the starting quarterback of the New York Jets in a couple of months?
I have no idea. Kyler's awful.
Yes.
Are they going to draft the quarterback? I guess that's like the main question. If they're going to draft the
at some point. I don't think at 2 though. I don't think it's
Kyler's not awful. He's just too interested in playing Call of Duty during the NFL season.
Yeah, right. The numbers are actually pretty good. If you look at I was the pun intended video game numbers. If you look at the numbers for Kyler Murray, actually running the football, passing the football, compared to Jets history, these are phenomenal. These are great. So that doesn't seem to be the problem. Yeah, well, that's fair enough, right? Where's the bar? Where's the line in the sand? Touche.
Look, I saw a very wise tweet the other day that said it was a message to Dante Moore, and it said, "Look, if you're not with us when we're 2-15, don't be with us when we're 2-15 the next year."
The funniest thing is that, right? Let's say we don't really. Was it really the Jets, or was it like whatever he said? I don't know. But if he's like, if it really was those Jet bastards, and then we fast forward a year, the Jets have the number 1 pick, and they're like, surprise, motherfucker! We still have the number 1 pick, so you're ours now. What is he going to go back to school for his doctorate?
Well,
I'm sorry, you're going to be a
you
Jet.
said a few minutes ago, what is Arch Manning going to do, and what are we going to do in response next year?
I don't know why you guys are so obsessed with Arch Manning. He hasn't been good in college at all. Well, he's been very subpar.
Very nice, huh? The bowl game was nice. He has more Manning. He's like Manning, but with speed. He had like that 60-yard touchdown run.
No, because last year every Colts fan was talking about tanking for Arch Manning, and I watched him earlier this season. He was terrible.
He was terrible early in the season.
He wasn't good. I mean, look, maybe next year he'll be better, but I don't get this dream just because he's a Manning that he's going to be your savior.
We can only hope, because we got spurned by a Manning once. That was in the late 90s, and Peyton went back to school, and now Dante goes back to school. Yeah, for God's sake.
And he could have come out to play for Parcells.
He could have. And apparently, I have one of the books. I think it was Gary Meyer's book behind me, the Brady versus Manning, where he talks about that conversation. And Peyton and his family wanted to know, are we guaranteed to be the number 1 pick? And Parcells went, I'm not guaranteeing shit, basically. And the man went, oh, okay. And then they went back to school. That's how the book describes the interaction, how it happened. So
wow.
Yeah, but we all know Peyton would have been a bust on the Jets, so it's okay.
that makes me feel slightly better.
I don't think under Parcells he would have been a bust.
maybe.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Bob, you guys all know each other here. Obviously, you got Bobby Jr. here, and now you got what can you? I don't want to break any, walls here down that don't need to be broken down. How did you? It's okay. Bobby Jr. is your son. I figured out how a mama duck and a papa duck loved each other very much, and Bobby Jr. popped out. What's the origin story here with Yank?
Yank's he's a close friend of mine that I met.
Family friend. Okay.
Yes, right. Yes. That I met after moving to New York, and I was able to. I think what allowed me to connect with him so well was my understanding of the despair of being a Jets fan and seeing from my father. So, but
apparently you weren't able to
ever since.
But apparently you weren't able to convert him to your Coltsdom. Like he.
I don't want a bunch of depressing Jets fans in my bandwagon.
Okay, but he's still in your ethos, right? Is he?
Well, yeah. I mean, you ever heard of comic relief?
It was an interesting moment when Sauce got traded to the Colts. I was like,
it was.
Oh yeah, especially between you two. So what was that? Bring us inside that room. If you guys were together or text or whatever. What happened?
And Mikey actually, Bobby broke the news to me, and I was like, no, this is not real. Sauce? It was on the.
It's true. He was in complete disbelief.
I was in disbelief. My daughter was doing speech at this computer, so I had no access to the normal stuff I'm normally doing. I was sitting in my living room with my 1-year-old son, and I went, "What the fuck?" Because it came across and said Sauce got traded, but I wanted to check it. I wanted to make sure it wasn't fake. I checked it, and Ian Rappaport is like 5 million followers. So I'm like, oh, that seems pretty legit. I just went, oh God. And then I was just confused. Like, wait, what? We just signed this guy. Why are we?
I just want to know, when it happened, Bobby Jr., did you contact me first, or did you contact him first?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I contacted him first.
Oh,
okay, wow.
True sign.
But I do have to say, and I have the receipts for this, I actually did predict that the Colts would go after Sauce. And I actually said that I wanted Sauce. I predicted it. I predicted it beforehand. I can find the receipts on Twitter.
Please do.
I absolutely predicted. I said I want Sauce. I think we're gonna get Sauce.
And when did you say this? Do you think?
Let me find this.
Oh, you're gonna find it live. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna find it live.
Okay. Wow.
So Yank, while he's doing that, Yank, where are you on the Aaron Glenn train?
I mean, he's probably not the guy. He'll probably get fired after this year. At the same time, if I'm firing Glenn this after 1 year, who am I getting?
Right.
I'm probably getting like some hotshot coordinator. If I want to go the Rex route, I can go the Rex route. Rex will probably be a better coach than Glenn, right? But like, I don't want to go the Rex route. It's like going back to your Rex. Like,
yeah. And by the way, when I saw there was Bobby Jr., I have never seen him in my life until this moment, so check that off the bucket list. But then I saw a Yank pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's old Yank, because there's another Yank in here, and he's like another Yank up in here.
Another Yank.
This is old Yank.
That is, wow.
When Bobby Jr. says, I got a guy who's also trying to call it, and I'm scanning through the callers, and I'm like, maybe he met some of these random people at a bar or something, but I'm like, who else is he going to know down here? Then he went Yank. I'm like, wow, we got a double Yank.
I've never met another Yank.
Probably means something different. So, anywho,
somebody
Bobby,
trying to ride your coattails, Yank.
Yeah, there you go.
I dropped my receipt. I dropped my receipt in the comments.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Right. Let's see. Receipt in the comments.
This is from October 25th.
Okay.
Or 26th.
What's your YouTube handle here?
No, in the
private chat.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
no. Okay, now I got you. Okay, let me pop this up here. Okay, let's see. Let's check the receipts. You found this very quickly. All right, let me screenshot this so we can put it on the screen for everybody. This is terrific. Okay, let's pop this up. So there was a calling it that occurred here on the channel. So let's throw this up.
The trade deadline was early November, right?
Yeah, it was November 4th. Yeah, November 4th or 5th.
4th. Yeah, you're 4th. You're right. So here it is. This is Go Colts 12, aka Toad. Sauce Gardner, he tweeted this out at 9:27 p.m. at night, because why wouldn't he? October 26, 2025. And then I called it, and there you go. On November 4th.
I can confirm it's him.
Oh, you can't.
I'm such a proud papa.
Look at that. Nailed it. Yeah, everything. That is
You're welcome.
Unbelievable. Thank you for sharing that. That's being vulnerable enough to share that prediction like that. That's
of course,
that's beautiful.
Of course.
Thank you. That's wow. So
yes,
what else?
Sharing correct predictions and not the incorrect ones is a long pastime for me.
100%. Those are the best. You celebrate the successes and failures. What are you talking about? I never heard of those.
Exactly.
So that's a good.
That's my gambling motto.
Okay, that's a good gambling motto to have. So again, Yank, Bobby Jr. Anything else? Go ahead, Bob Lederer.
Yeah, I'll send. Hold on, I'll send you a link. I want you to click on the link and come on the show. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay, we're getting a whole family affair here. All right.
It's almost Shabbat here. I just wanted to say Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay. God bless. Yeah. Blessed be He.
We're getting the whole family involved, but he can't come on right now because in Israel it'll be Shabbat in a few minutes.
Okay. What? And so for those less initiated, what does that mean?
Well, on
Jewish
Shabbos,
thing.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Bobby Jr. and Yank, you've lived it, so why don't you explain?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Bobby Jr., take it away.
Oh no, it's a stupid Jewish thing. No technology. Friday to Saturday night.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
just for 48 hours. So for 48 hours,
25 hours. 25 hours. Friday sundown to sundown.
And
it's really helpful for Jet fans.
p.m.
Oh, okay. So it's a ritual release of sorts. Yeah, for Jet fans especially, yes. I'm sure, getting off Twitter. So so you can't be on shows or social media or anything?
No.
So what can you do? What are you allowed to do? Everything else?
No.
You get to ruminate about how terrible the Jets are for 25 hours.
Wow. I wonder how we could fill that time slot. That's yeah.
Well, you go to synagogue and you talk to the guy next to you. Can you believe how bad they are?
Okay. Oh, so it's social media just in real life.
That's right.
Yes.
It's person to person.
Okay. Wow. That
which I
was-
do every Saturday here in Chicago, and I have to live with the Bears succeeding and the Jets not.
Wow, that was well. I appreciate the enlightenment for the non-Jew in the room. I appreciate the
Yeah, you're the outnumbered one. I thought I was outnumbered.
Is there like is there some sort of like a ritual hazing? Do you guys gotta like jump me for me to get in, or how does that work? Yeah.
You know, if I told you that, you'd know how to control the weather, and we can't allow it.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably for the best. Yeah, you'd have to kill me or something. So yeah,
Exactly.
that makes perfect sense. Well, Bobby Jr., Yank, and the whole family, and to the additional audio only member that joined us very briefly there, Bob. God bless. Wow, that was beautiful. Thanks, boys, for spreading the gospel and joining the program. We appreciate that.
My pleasure. My pleasure, as always, to shit on the Jets.
Strangers, guys.
There you go. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Bobby Jr. and Yank. Wow. Okay. Bob, man, that was electric. Booga wooga wooga. Okay, that was a lot of calls there. Okay. Wow.
Wow. We got out of it unscathed.
Yeah, barely. All right, 400 people in the room. Again, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe here on the channel. That was an experience and a half I'm going to tell my grandchildren about in 20 years. If you go to subscribe, we're 4 subscribers away, baby, from 8,300. So hit that subscribe button. Help us get there live on the show. Man, terrific. I can't believe how quickly we've grown.
Yesterday you were at 8,000.
I know, and now we're 4 away from 8,300. So hit that subscribe button. We will celebrate and pop the bubbly here on the program. That's for sure. All right, up next here. Oh, it's your guy, Dr. Philly Doodles.
Hello.
With or without the chalkboard, with or without the whiteboard this week.
I think he added it in the living room. I think we talked about this with the fiance-wife situation. Yeah.
No, I can't find it. Like we have so many things that's packed away. There's other things I'm trying to find in the house as well. But yeah. Well, first off, good morning, gentlemen. And
top of the morning to you.
I do want to say, Bob, I agree with a lot of what you first stated when you got on the show this morning, except for the retanking. I'm okay on that. And, I'm okay on that. With 3 first-round picks.
I predict you're going to join the tank train early next year.
I mean, I don't want to. I
don't want to either.
I reluctantly will only agree when it's at that moment, and we will revisit that. Your fruition was correct.
Right, because like when we were 0-7 this year, like the odds say something very significant. Like when you're 0-3, and the Texans sort of flipped it. Like 0-7, I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. There has never been a team from 0-7. I was like, oh boy, and I didn't even jump on the tank train. I'm like, well, there's got to be a first, and we weren't. So yeah, that was
Muji. So Philly, what is Muji cooking?
Yeah,
he's always cooking. I mean. He's got to be cooking. His brain must stew. He's stewing. You all right? Let's go. He's on the pot. He's got a crock pot going. Okay.
All right.
And he's got the potatoes. He's got to add all the other ingredients to create a good stock. That's what I'd say we're at now.
He's making a stock. He's going to get a lot of email and phone messages between now and draft day. Yeah.
He's got the stock cooking in the crock pot while Glenn is trying to make a roux to quickly try to, fix whatever is going wrong with the sauce inside that crock pot that he thinks he can add. Honestly, QB, give me Drew Aller in the 4th. If you're just sitting there, I think, they were probably enamored with him preseason, pre-2025. I mean, I think Moogie had seen him already, and, there was rumors that they knew they liked him. I think that's still a possibility. I think he's obviously going to go through the first 2 rounds, filtered right through. And that's barring the fact that he's probably not going to participate because he's still, recovering with his knee. So you're looking at a guy where he's not going to get anything but tape looked on. You get a discount for that, right? Naturally. Like those dudes just fall in a draft. So I'd like him to fall. I'd like them to scoop him up. I don't mind a stab at a Nussmeier as well, or if they do that instead. Only because the kid, if we think about it, I forgot who was saying this. I don't know, it was Connor Rogers or somebody. The last good tape they had on him before an injury was 4,000 passing yards. That's a prolific passer. So whether he was hurt and whether what happened in the past season, like he threw for 4,000 plus yards. So he's got plenty of arm talent. Like the problem is with some of these other guys is everything else, right? So like anybody who says Carson Beck, I want you to take your head and put it right back where it came out of. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could do that, but you should probably do that to yourself because the guy has no talent and doesn't have enough ability. Like he could just put the ball where it needs to be placed when there was a broken play for a touchdown. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're telling me I'm going to get one game where he has a Zach Wilson touchdown and beats the Titans. I don't need that from Beck, and he's not even that talented. So it was like a miracle he had a broken play that game. But I mean, I'll say Aller. I'll say Nussmeier.
We have multiple fourth-round picks, right?
Yeah, I think it's too rich for Chambliss still in that second.
I'm going to
will
go out of the box again, and I've never seen Nussmeier play or I haven't seen Allard play. But if they were highly rated before this season, take them both.
Yeah, just figure it out. You know what I mean? One of them has got to come on your roster.
Take a shot because I don't think your chances for success are that abysmal. If you get two talented guys who are not being considered seriously, one because he was injured the whole year, and the other just in a system that didn't work for him.
Now, I think retrospect, BG, right? Like the last time we did let's go get an injured guy. Ricky live New York tried to save him from everything that occurred.
Yeah,
I remember.
We're not talking about a running back or an offensive lineman. We're talking about a quarterback who you could protect.
Yeah, I remember Ricky offering his own fibula for Jordan, and unfortunately that surgery does not exist. So Jordan Travis III had to retire. But again, I get it. It's inherently unfair. Like I've explained before, right? Like if the Jets take a Penn State quarterback, we're like Christian Hackenberg. If they take an Ohio State guy, like Vernon Golston. Like, that's not fair. None of these players have anything to do with each other. But like that's where some of our heads go. Injured quarterback guy, Jordan Travis. So it's inherently unfair to do this, but we are going to do this when these kind of things happen naturally. So
you gotta have a quarterback coach.
Yeah,
I hope they land a good.
They will have one, but who is it going to be?
I don't know.
Boy, you better show me a pretty good track record.
I'll say
of development, right? A successful track record of development would make me feel a lot better. But
I'll say one more thing quickly. I heard.
Yes, sir.
And I hate to bring up. It was some other person's channel, not Jake's. Some other guy.
Okay.
He had talking about Jason Cole did an interview with Play Like a Jet podcast.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard that, BG, or heard about what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're going to say. I just know of Jason Cole, a long-time, columnist for Bleacher Report, and he's written a lot of books. And I know Scott Mason, obviously. So no, I don't know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Okay. So he had him on his podcast, and he had talked about, have you heard anything weird out of the Jets camp and staff or anything weird? He goes, well, before the 2025 season here, when we were looking at Lance Newmark, when Lance Newmark was a thing. Actually, first they asked Muji, and Muji declined their cheap offer. They went to Newmark, who then Newmark said, get out of here with that as well. And then they had to go back to Mugi and offered a raise on the contract dispute. And he said, okay, fine. So, yes, them being cheap has possibly become a thing and being, obviously because the first timer, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm about to say is the reason why I think no matter if Wilkes had experience and Wilkes, if you look at how is Wink, they asked for the dude from Minnesota, but Wink is a thing right now. And Jim Schwartz is probably not going to be a thing because they're not going to let him go. But Wink is a thing. Wilkes is a thing. It's saying he can only garner old veteran dudes because a young guy is not going to get paid crap.
Who are desperate for a job.
Correct. So I think
I don't know. Let me just my initial thought.
Bro.
This is my first time hearing it from how you just described it. That seems nuts. Like unbelievable nuts. Because Lance Newmark seemed like he was going to be the guy. Like he was in the building by all accounts. The reporting, like it was AJ and him in the building. We're like, oh shit! Like we're about to get the GM and head coach hire, and then he wasn't. So like the fact that like how this story is told, that they went Muji this and then Newmark. Just kidding, Muji. Because like Newmark was there first. So like that's part of the story that's hard for my brain to wrap around how that would make any sense of like underselling.
I think the same. That's what I thought the same at first. But then I have to remember they hired Glenn first.
But Glenn's getting $10 million a year.
Correct.
Right, reportedly. Yes.
Yes. But you hired Glenn first.
Right.
Glenn's first call could have been, I want that guy Darren Muji.
Yeah,
and then they got to Muji and he's like, nah, bro.
So do you think they were operating? So, okay, they hired Glenn first. I remember that. But Newmark was in the building with him. You had to have thought that while they were talking with Glenn, they're saying, hey, what do you think of this Newmark guy? I would doubt that they would just randomly arrange, hey, we talked to Newmark, we kind of like him. Hey, Glenn, you like him? And then he says yes or no, and then they go to Muji. Like, again, that still also doesn't make sense to me. Glenn was hired first. He was. Newmark was in the building, and then he wasn't. My only take that makes any sense is that AG's like, get the hell out of here. I don't want you, Lance Newmark, and I have all full control over everything. Get the hell out. I want a different guy. And that led the ships eventually here to Darren Muji. So I don't know the contract. Again, I'm all for people want to dunk on the Jets if they do something stupid, and that sounds crazy. So, like, again, the truth is the truth. And if that's the truth, so be it. We can, like, make fun of the Jets for whatever that is. It just sounds so crazy that doesn't seem to make any sense.
So to me, that would have to be vetted too. Like, I didn't bring up a Jake's channel yet because I haven't been on to discuss it. But him having an inside, with Mike T, maybe he brings that up to Mike T. Hey, what do you think there's any validity to that? God knows. But I would consider that cheap thought, right? Like, Bob, as you keened in on that. You're looking at older defensive coordinators still. Like, why is that even? Why? Because the young guy's like, I need more money if you want me to be, like, you kind of can call your shot, especially with the Jets, right? You would think, yeah, you need me to help save that franchise? You're going to pay me what? Just because I'm a first-timer? Come on, man. Like, I don't know. But, hey, let's see what happens. I'll let you guys go to the next caller.
All right, there you go. Philly Doodles chiming in. I had not heard that story, but shout out to Scott Mason, Play Like a Jet podcast. He does a phenomenal job. So excellent. Shout out to him. Okay, interesting. I had not heard that story. I'll try to do some more digging. After all that went down, I had Jeremy Fowler of ESPN on my show. And I asked him on air and off air. I'm like, hey, what the hell happened to this Newmark situation? That's bizarre, right? And he gave me whatever sourcing he had, and basically he didn't have much to reveal about it. I'm like, all right, okay.
Well, the president. I just was looking. The president of football operations, Jaime Elhai.
Yes.
And I looked on Google for his NFL background.
Right. I believe he's a business guy.
He helped oversee the building of MetLife Stadium.
Oh, see, there you go.
That's his NFL background.
Yeah, and he's some confidant of Woody, which could go to the building thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's been around. So
forever. we're in good hands.
That's the spirit. We are absolutely in good hands. Let's keep the phone lines rolling. It's one of your favorites. Bill Aimley joins us here on the program.
Hey, Bill. How's it going, guys?
Hi, Bill.
What a show.
With all this positivity going on, I'm like, I don't know. Should I watch the Jets season next year wearing a blindfold or what? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Turn on YouTube and go watch Super Bowl III and.
There you go. That's
I looked at it. I looked at the actual video, and I'm like, that was a fucking boring Super Bowl.
It was not.
We won, but it was fucking boring.
It was not an exciting game, but but obviously, if you were watching it then, the shock of the underdog, huge underdog coming.
Oh no, but definitely, if you're at the game, the vibe is totally different. Because then you're on pins and needles with every play and stuff when you're actually there.
Len Dawson was there. He was the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, I know who he is. Mm-hmm.
Surrounded by a lot of NFL players and such. And as the Jets were playing well and pulling away, he kept talking out loud. He told me this, and he has said it publicly as well. Hey, that AFL, that doesn't look like such a bad league anymore, does it? Look at what they're doing to this greatest defense of all time and that sort of thing. All I can tell you, Bill, is I slept so well Monday night.
Okay.
No,
They're great.
I believe it. I believe it.
Only 2 hours. And in fact, NBC has lost about 5 minutes of the game somehow.
I have it on DVD, so anytime I want to watch it's on the. I got obviously the Jets have been around for 100 years, so whatever it is, 50-year history, whatever it was, the DVD set they released. So I have that and all kinds of special interviews and all kinds of other.
I have
games.
the NFL actual film that they provided to the Colts and the Jets of the game after.
Wow! Oh, that's a sweet.
Now it has no audio, and in fact, the guy that gave it to me, who had it duplicated, the guy who duplicated it decided to put music behind it. So it's kind of silly to watch it
with all the talk about who shouldn't be our quarterback. No Kyler Murray. Don't draft this guy. Don't draft that guy.
Yep.
Then to those guys, I'll say this: great, we're going to have another year of Brady Cook as our quarterback. Fantastic.
No, but even you will have to agree. This is the ultimate test for Aaron Glenn and Muji.
Oh, absolutely.
They're in great drafting position. They have a lot of needs. As long as you make picks of guys who are going to start and play well for you, you've had a good draft. But if you screw it up and draft guys who immediately get hurt or just have trouble making the adjustment, then you basically have written yourself out of the job. And I have confidence in Muji, and he says, and they say that two of them are working together. So we'll see. But best player available. That's all you can do, except for wide receiver. You got to get a wide receiver somehow, unless they sign somebody as a veteran.
Right.
But best player available.
Yeah, the most important thing is for him to turn the defense around. Because if the defense plays light years better next year, to the extent that it wins them 3 or 4 games, then a lot of people will hold out more hope for 2027 when we finally, quote, get that quarterback that we've been wanting. Because obviously,
it's only going to take players and coaching.
Absolutely, you need both. I mean, if you don't have the players, it doesn't matter how good the coaching is, like it or not. If you have subpar players, your coaching can only get you so far. You have to have close to stellar players, and then the coaching, is the icing on the cake. But if you have subpar players, I don't care who's coaching.
Bill, they're
not going to be a winning team.
Bill, I have to give you a lot of credit to wear a Mets cap this morning after what you found out last night.
Yeah, but I can't blame the Mets, right? $55 million a year, and apparently that's not enough. Or shall we say, I'd rather go to California than to New York. I mean, that's the attitude. Same thing with Florida. Where would you rather live? Florida, California, New York? And New York doesn't come out first or second most times. So that's just reality.
Sorry, Bill.
That's just reality. I love my Mets, but like I said, I'd rather just wait till spring training and see who we actually have on the team. So I try very hard to stay away from all these programs where they talk about the latest rumor. I'm like, I don't want to hear the rumor. If you put the number of players who are in the rumors for the Mets, it's like, all right, well, 99% of them are already gone. So I would say just to wait till spring training, see who's there, and hope that the Mets will be a more competitive team.
There you go.
They have to build from within. They got to build from within.
Bill,
you got to develop your own players so you don't have to worry about all these free agent guys.
Bill, I want you to go to YouTube right now and watch Super Bowl 3.
There you go.
Again?
See if that changes anything for you, Bill. METS, Mets.
Every time
I love my Mets. I love my Jets. I also like the Knicks, despite the the craziness going on with them now. So
Oh yeah, Jesus. So
everyone
we'll see.
have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Be safe, and God bless you all.
There he is, Bill, joining us here on the program. Very much appreciated. Thank
By the
you,
way,
Bill.
we have some heavy snowfall here, Paul. Maybe headed your way.
Yes, I saw. I heard right before. So, of course, the show starts promptly at every morning at 7:30. It was 7:28 and 30 seconds, and I heard the snowplows outside. I'm like, oh dear God, because again, when I wake up, I'm immediately coming over here to the office, do all kinds of Jets work. So sometimes I don't even get to see the outside in between bedroom and here. And I just heard the snow trucks. I'm like, let me do a quick 40-yard dash just to see what we're dealing with out there. So I was like, open the door. Whoop! I saw the plows. I'm like, geez, hello. So
well, you are in a snow zone, right?
We are a constant snow zone because of lake effect. We're right on Lake Ontario, so that's constantly part of the equation. It is. So, all right, let's go back to the phone lines here on the program. It is easy here.
Easy.
Wow.
Good morning.
Wow. I like this location. This is very nice. New. Okay.
Well, I'm usually just right in the kitchen over here. I'm just sitting down at my table. So.
Oh, cool. A different part of the house. I like it. This is easy MTV Cribs.
How's the pickup? How's the pickup these days?
The what?
The pickup. Usually report from the pickup.
Oh, well, usually I'm reporting from my work truck, but yeah. I'm off today for some reason. It's cold. It was like 19 degrees last night, which is real cold for North Carolina.
Oh,
yeah, right. Yeah. The different levels. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this year, the single most important hire the New York Jets could possibly make is quarterback coach.
Oh, yeah.
If they don't get this right, no matter who they draft, it's going to be a nightmare. I kind of like see if they could get Frank Reich. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a quarterback's coach, and he's been a head coach.
Yep. And he's a former quarterback himself. Makes sense.
Yeah, he won. He was pretty good. He played for the Bills.
100%, and the Jets.
He played for a lot of guys, but I mean, he played for a lot of guys. I remember him as a Bills backup, and he did pretty darn good. So I mean,
yeah, he orchestrated the largest comeback in both NFL and college
in NFL history, right?
And
who were they playing? History. They were playing. I think were they playing Houston?
The
Oilers. Yeah. The Oilers were like 30 to 32 to something at halftime, and they came back and they beat them.
Yeah, Rich Savini told the story in his podcast. When the Jets lost and weren't in the playoffs, his job was to cover the New York teams when he worked for the Daily News, and he had to cover the Bills. And he said he was in the press box, and the Oilers were up like 35-3. And at halftime,
yeah, it was crazy.
At halftime, this Oilers reporter bought non-refundable tickets, plane tickets, because he said, obviously, we're going to the AFC Championship game or something. And then, of course, Buffalo comes back, and then that guy had to light those tickets on fire. And I was like, oh, unbelievable. So, yeah, Frank Reich orchestrated that.
Well, one of the things that I believe the Jets should do in the draft is they have the first 4 picks, number 2 to 44. I would like to see them do something with 44, either trade back into the 3rd round and get some more picks for next year. I really want to stock up on 27. But if they can trade back into the 3rd round, I would love for them to get Drew Alar. I've heard he was supposed to, if he didn't get hurt last year, he would have gotten highly drafted in the 1st round. He was a 1st round pick. I don't want to use him at 44 because I don't want to use a 2nd round pick on him. But if we could trade back, get some more capital, and pick him up in the 3rd round, I'd take a chance on him. 3rd round? You kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, he's a 1st round talent. And someone, by the way, is asking about your quarterback coach thing. Sal says he'd love to get the Panthers Versace guy. He's been good for Bryce Young. Unfortunately, he just got promoted by the Panthers to block other people from hiring him. So he is now off the market after his promotion this week. Just want to throw that out there. But I do love Drew Alar. That's an intriguing option, Easy.
I mean, I know that people will say, oh, no, he stepped back a little this year, but how much of that was due to his ankle injury?
Of course.
You know, a lot of guys, we've talked about this in the past, a lot of guys, when they come back that first year off of an injury, even though physically they're ready to go, sometimes mentally they're not. They're always just that little tiny bit of hesitation that should I really plant on this foot and cut back and try to avoid the rush? Or should I really plant on this foot and just drive the ball to my receiver on a down and out? There's always just that little tiny mental thing. I don't want to. And the other thing is they're afraid that they plant on that foot and they're going to hear it crack again. Yeah. So a lot of it is up here.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob, you've been watching this game longer than me. I mean, what do you think about that issue of the mental is almost as important as the physical healing?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, knock on wood somewhere, I've been lucky enough not to have any serious injuries, but I know people who have. And yeah, your concern, when your rehab is over, to put pressure, to put your full force of your legs or your arms or whatever it is, to the test is a challenge. And that's for a non-athlete. And athletes, even, I mean, imagine with all.
Think of what JJ went through this year. Maybe that's why he didn't have that quick burst.
I don't think we saw the fully recovered JJ this year.
No,
because you're talking about not just speed but strength, and he's really
right. Well, with Rodgers, that wasn't even his plant leg that had the Achilles.
Right.
So he was able to recover quicker and plant on that foot and fire away. JJ is a defensive end / edge rusher.
Explosion.
I mean, that's exactly, the explosion is all about it. And I think McDonald went back. I think a lot of the problems that the Jets had this year was their DC, because apparently the book was, he was saying, I don't care what your gut says, do what I tell you, play your gaps, don't think, just do. And that was a lot of the problems with the Jets this year. I mean, I know I made a statement earlier in the things about Wade Phillips. I didn't realize he was 79 years old, but I'll tell you, if there was a way to get him at Jets camp, I don't care if he's in a wheelchair with an IV and oxygen. It's the mind. Maybe he could be there as an advisor, just someone who's been there, done that. Has Wade Phillips ever in his NFL history had a par 500 defense? I mean, like worse than 16th in the league. I don't think so. I think he was top half of the league in defense every year he's ever coached.
And his father bum, right? So he's got the whole family. Yeah.
I think Wade was just he never really quite made it as a head coach, and this is not an indictment. A lot of guys don't.
Right, especially in Dallas with the Cowboys. That's a lot of pressure.
Well, look at the guy who's back on New England. Was it Josh McDaniels?
Yes,
the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
He's had 2 stints as a head coach, and it's been a disaster.
Terrible.
But you cannot ever say that he is not one of the best offensive coordinators you've ever seen.
It's true.
I mean, I know he had Brady, but still, I mean, Brady was not that great when he was gone that 1 year. McDaniels he's got that mind, and some guys are just really good at what they do, and they kind of reach, it's called being promoted and reaching your level of incompetence. It's like, I'm a good painter. I was a good painting contractor, but as far as running my business on the paperwork side of it, no, I was bad. I was bad on the paperwork end of running my business,
And you talk about McDaniels, and McDaniels was obviously hired as coach twice because of his offensive genius.
Prowess, of course. Yes, right.
Yeah, and the fact that, we talked about defensive coach, being the head coach too. I mean, McDaniels couldn't provide his offensive genius, couldn't have it rub off or pick the right guy. No matter,
he couldn't have it rub off on his defense either.
Well, that's true. The defense.
Easy. Let me ask you a question.
I think Robert Saleh, when he gets his next chance as a head coach,
which I think is coming this offseason, by the way. I think he's going to be.
I think Saleh. I think he will succeed this time. I think it's a bit of a learning curve. I think he knows what he needs to do, and I think he's going to be very careful as to when he becomes a head coach again, how he puts his offensive staff together, and how he makes sure that when he gets a quarterback to complement his defense. This way the team can play complementary football. He can't have his defense shutting people down to 13 points a game and not being able to pull off a win with his offense. Zach Wilson single-handedly killed Robert Saleh's coaching career. with the Jets, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it too. And I think what he needs to do is Saleh needs to link up with Mike McDaniel and then take over a team. Baltimore.
Yeah, but Saleh may end up in Miami.
Wouldn't that be crazy? But Mike McDaniel wouldn't follow him to Miami. I don't think he would go from head coach to offensive coordinator. But if that's his choice, then I'd be curious.
The more I think about it, Paul, and I want to get to the next call to be fair to everybody.
Yeah, right.
I really like my idea of drafting 2 quarterbacks like in the fourth round if they're still there.
I don't mind that strategy. Yeah.
Because it's really hard to find diamonds, in that area. And the Jets particularly do not draft well. When's the last time they really drafted somebody that low and had and really found a gem?
I get it. It ended up flaming out, but Michael Carter II was a 5th round pick, and he ended up being the best slot corner in football for a period of time before that all imploded. So that was good. But to your point, like it has a Quincy Enunwa in the last decade or so is someone a 6th round pick out of Nebraska.
It's not impossible, but to me, you bring in a Nussmeier and an Allard if you could do that. They're both going to be supercharged to compete. To prove that they were worth, a higher pick. They aren't going to cost you much money at all.
Right.
Have both of them on your roster. If you have the right quarterback, coach, you can get a guy who will teach them the best of all. And you might find 2, if you have 2 real good opportunities there. And in the end, you got a guy you can trade. And it's true. What Green Bay does every year. They always draft a quarterback that they can groom. And eventually have something that maybe is a trade chip.
I love that strategy. We should do that. I hope we do that. And again, we have 400 people in the room, which is amazing. Again, guys, make sure you like the video. Over 100 of those 400 are currently watching on YouTube. We're now 3 subscribers away from 8,300 people.
Let's do it before the end of the show.
That would be super cool.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we could get past another milestone and celebrate. We'll give some memberships out, and we'll celebrate it if we could get there again. 3 more subscribers away from 8,300. So let's get over that total and head towards, again, closer and closer to 10,000. So hit that subscribe button of you 100 plus if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not subscribed already to the channel. And we're streaming live on Facebook and Twitter. So if you guys are over there, you can feel free to hop on over on your YouTube app on your phone or tablet or wherever you are, and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. So let's go. Let's make sure you do it. Beautiful. All right, back to the fun lines. It's your boy Carl, man with the jet tattoo.
Hello, Carl.
Hello, Bob. Hello, boy.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I just got off the phone with my wife from Thailand.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
And she was going to bed right now, and
okay, that makes
I
time
was just kind of, it's just 12-hour difference. Anyway, listen. I don't know how much longer I can do this Jets talk. I just, my God, I just can't believe I walk around with my phone on all day, listening to every Jet content I can. It's like, it's so addicting. And I did not do this during the season because the off season is just always so much more exciting than the regular season.
Every year.
But I can't think about this too much longer, but I am going to say BG was right. I take Drew Alar.
Yeah, I don't know. It goes by a lot of different things. Once we draft him, we'll get it right.
I would take him. I think he's got a lot of upside, and I think he's probably the best choice if we can get him in around the 3rd or 4th round. I like the idea to trade down. You got to recoup that 3rd round pick.
Right.
Maybe get another 4th or 5th or whatever. But I think he's got the most upside. But I think that this team has got to build a defense. I've been watching the playoffs, and I'm looking at these teams that win. The Houston Texans, they don't have a great offense, but my God, that defense carries them. And look, even the Patriots, I know they have a good quarterback, and they don't score a lot of points, but their defense is carrying them. And, same thing with the 49ers.
Well, and don't forget the Seahawks.
And they got Sam Darnold, though, but they do have a defense.
But they've got the best defense in the NFC.
You're right.
I love their defense.
We seem to, we have so much talk going on about who the quarterback's going to be. It doesn't matter who our quarterback is if we run it back with this defense. We've got to be able to defend the pass. I mean, we were like backyard football this year. There was nobody that was never open on the opposite team. Nobody. Everybody was open. Everybody looked like a superstar.
Yeah.
We've got to have, and we've got to have a pass rush. If we don't have a pass rush, it doesn't matter who we have in the defensive backfield because it's just not going to work. What do you think about Will McDonald? Do you think we should give him a 5th-year option, or do you think? I think he's being used the wrong way. That's my opinion. He's not a 3-down. He's not a 3-down guy. He's a specialty guy, but I still think that he's being used the wrong way.
Yeah, I struggle with this one, Carl, because I agree with you. I do think that the coaching that he was apparently getting this past season wasn't up to snuff. And in a season where it wasn't up to snuff, he still put up 8 sacks, and he had 10.5 the year before. So this is a guy who's had basically 30 sacks in his career so far. It's very impressive, the insane production he's put up. But now what do? You have this basically $15 million fully guaranteed option coming up in May. Do you accept it? Do you decline it? Do you trade Will McDonald? And do you give him to someone else? And I think it would hurt a lot of Jet fans if you trade him to a contender and he's used properly with contender, and then he's the Sam Darnold of defense. He's like going to another team and succeeding post-Jets. I think that'd be deflating, especially because I hear the value for him is like a 3rd or 2nd round pick. And then for how important rushing, right, he has a special set of skills to go all Liam Neeson on you. But the special set of skills is pretty important. Rushing the passer, every good team.
Well,
needs
but he
that.
had all those sacks in 3 games.
That's true, right? So that's part of the equation.
So
and go back to the year before, Bob. Go back to the year before, right? So in this year where he had 8 sacks and it all came in 3 games, the year before in 10.5 sacks, he had 8 of those 10.5 sacks in the first 7 games of the season. The final 10 weeks of the season, he had 2.5 sacks. So he also, this isn't just a this year thing where he's had this gap. So it's another part of the evaluation process.
It's a scheming situation. When you get him all in 3 games, or you get him all only in the first 7 games and such, every week is a challenge to try to find the weak spot of the guy that he's playing, opposite, to maximize. And their coaches were not getting him in a correct frame where he could take advantage of the skill that he has. And the skill is limited because he doesn't have the physical prowess to blow people away.
So it'll be interesting. Let's find out who this defensive coordinator is here, Carl, and that should give us some insights into sort of schematically what they're going to be operating with, and maybe some insights into what kind of players fit that scheme. And maybe it'll say a good thing or a bad thing, like, whoa, Will McDonald does not fit whoever this new guy is. They have no choice. He does fit what this new guy is. Great. He's going to be a key piece of the puzzle. We need to wait for that defensive coordinator hire first, I think.
Well, I think that if we get rid of Will McDonald, I think Sal is going to grab him no matter where he goes.
Oh, sure.
And I think we'll have another Bryce Huff situation.
Yeah, it could be.
And that look at the Bryce Huff thing, man.
Yeah.
He's playing well again. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but he's playing well.
And they're in the playoffs, right?
With Sal, and they're in the playoffs. And look at him with the Eagles. He was invisible with the Eagles.
And good for him. He got a Super Bowl ring out of it for sitting on the bench. Good for him.
That's right.
A bag of money and a Super Bowl ring.
Hey, how do you feel? How much does that mean to you if you get a Super Bowl ring and all you did was sit on the bench?
Cam Newton had this conversation on a podcast maybe a couple of years ago where I give 2 paths in front of you. We'll ask both of you here on the slate. and you could be the league MVP, right? That's the best of the best. Very few league MVPs in history, but you're never going to win a Super Bowl. Or you're a third string offensive lineman on a Super Bowl team and you have a championship ring forever. If you could pick one of the two careers to have, which career would you pick? And Cam Newton said, I'd be the MVP. And everyone slammed him and said, come on, where's the team, you idiot? But like when you really think about it, because again, this is a made up scenario, you don't get to really control what you get to choose. Like Cam Newton being the league MVP, he is remembered forever for being that league MVP. Are we going to remember the third offensive lineman who won a Super Bowl as a backup forever? No. I mean, he'll have that story for his family and kids when they come over. Yeah, I'm a Super Bowl champion. Like, unless they ask to follow up, oh, what Super Bowl? Let me go watch it. And you're like, you may not be able to see me. I'm not sure. So I don't know. So Bob, which would you pick if you could be a league MVP? And that's sort of how your career is marked and remembered by, but you never win a championship, or you're a backup and you win a Super Bowl. Which career would you rather have?
Give me the ring.
Oh, okay. There you go. I'd be an MVP.
I famously, I've told this story before, but the 40th guy on the Super Bowl team in 1969, to this day, because he played so little, even though he was basically on special teams most of the time, and he only played in like 7 or 8 games, he didn't really feel like he belonged at the celebration because he wasn't on the field very much, didn't make any tackles that were game-saving or anything like that, but he got the ring, and he just felt completely out of place at the 50th anniversary. And I said to him, hey, you're a member of this team. You were on the field. You did what you were supposed to do. You earned the ring, and you earned the money that came with the ring. And he was surrounded by his grandkids, and he actually was embarrassed in front of his kids watching Jerry Philbin and all the other celebrated Jets of that team. And I said to him, get in there and be with your guys. They know you were there, So yeah, I mean, everybody wants that ring. Everybody wants that ring, and you can win as many MVP titles. Ask Dan Marino what he considers in his career the most important thing. The MVPs, the Rookie of the Years, all that kind of stuff that he won, getting to the Super Bowl or having a ring.
But again, as a backup though, so you don't get your Marino glory. You're Joe Blow, the third string. So that's what you'd sacrifice.
You will never have gotten that glory. But you made the National Football League, 53-man roster.
I don't know. Again, to me, to be the MVP and forever, so Mark Esno, right? We talk about Mark Esno every once in a while. To be the sack king for 20 years, give or take, however long he was, he got to go to every convention on this side of the earth and, hey, sack king here, autographing, the money, the accolades, the respect, all that. League MVP Paul Esdin shows up. Hey, former Super Bowl champion Paul Esdin. Oh, what Super Bowl? What team? I don't know. To me, the money, the glory, the fame, the everything from the league MVP. Oh, baby, sign me up.
I think it's personal. I think that everybody has their own idea of what their success is. Mm-hmm. And I think that personally myself, I'd rather be a league MVP.
Yeah,
because that means that I contributed, I was special. Mm-hmm. If I was on a Super Bowl team and I was Bryce Huff and I sat on the bench and I didn't contribute in any way, I would almost feel like I didn't even want to talk about it. I would feel sort of embarrassed.
Bryce Huff, I just looked up when his name came up. Only 4 sacks this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Limited playing time. One of his sacks finished off a game, and he had 2 turnovers were created by those sacks.
Does that include playoff stats, or is that just regular season?
That's just regular season.
Okay.
I mean, that's a contribution for a guy who wasn't out there. He's a third down specialist.
Well, you don't have to be. Look, You don't have to be a star. If your dream is to play in the NFL, everybody's not a star. I mean, my God, can you imagine being able to tell somebody, hey, I know guys that said, hey, you know what? I was at Jets training camp.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the training camp. I was one of the people that they invited to the training camp, and I almost made it. I mean, that's an accomplishment.
Sure,
That's
that's
an
super
accomplishment.
cool.
Everybody, everybody has a dream that, hey, we're going to the NFL. I'm going to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to be a star. There's a lot of guys that, hey, who the hell is that? But they're in the NFL, and that's a personal accomplishment that is, to me, is really big.
100%. Yeah.
So I think it's a personal thing. Whatever your idea of success is, I just think that's you have to satisfy yourself. That's what's got to come down to.
That's a good point, and I appreciate the call, Carl. That's what I would say, is that ultimately you have to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the night and say what you're comfortable with. And I think the unspoken things with MVP is you get, obviously, unspeakable amounts of money. So hopefully you save that right during your career, and then you have the chance to.
But Paul, let's get down to that. We'll make this real quick. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Okay.
Neither you or I, me when I was 20, 22, or you in your present condition, our chances of ever making a professional roster in any league, okay, are less
a little lower,
less than this, okay.
Yeah.
But if you knew that you would at least have made the squad and been part of a team that won the Super Bowl, you'd have that ring, and you would always have that ring, and you could show it to your kids and your grandkids, and they would ask you about it and say, well, I played with Roger Staubach, or I played with Joe Namath, or I played with Otis Taylor and guys like that. And, names that people recognize.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both been in the presence of guys,
sure.
And you want to say, hey, what was it like to play with so-and-so?
Well, here's the perfect thing here, Bob. Okay, I have a championship ring. It's right here, baby. I was the broadcaster for the Syracuse Strong. We went to Vegas, and I won this national championship.
Yeah.
Now, when I see this national championship ring, in all its glory, this beautiful championship ring,
beautiful.
It is. It's very heavy too.
So you know exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
And here's the thing: when they're like, "Whoa, nice ring," I'm like, "Yeah, I won a championship with my football team." And then everyone assumes, "Oh, wow, it's a player. Oh, that's terrific." But actually, this was for my broadcasting. I was just a broadcaster on the championship team, so I got a championship ring, and it's got a little mic on it. It's got the final score.
Hey,
nice.
when I was at Stony Brook, I was among other things, I was the basketball team announcer.
Sure, yeah.
And we won the Knickerbocker championship.
Congratulations!
One year.
Yeah.
We were playing Brooklyn Tech and CCNY and whatever, but I felt like. I mean, I wasn't obviously an integral part of the team, but I was on the team, it wasn't even buses on the team, vans that went to these games. And I got to know the players, and the players got to know me. Yeah. And I didn't make any contribution, but I felt part of the situation.
Yeah.
So, it's meaningful in a very personal way.
Yeah. And so let's get one more call in before we wrap up the show, and then I got some other interviews. And again, you guys will be able to check out everything else. Let's go to your guy, Johnny Boy here.
Hey, Johnny, good morning. Thank you for the comments about the family.
You are on mute, Johnny, before you start talking, although that may be the best bit you've ever given us. But go ahead.
Hey, that's awesome. What's going on, Bob? Holding up today, man.
Well, I have to admit that was as Doggedy Dad used to say in the old cartoons. That was my son, my son.
That's true.
Hey, did Easy say get a 80-year-old dude to come and play? Well, not come and play, but come and.
No, he said get the 79.
Like yes, even in a whatever the word is, like an analyst, a contributor, whatever word you want to use.
An assistant to the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, assistant to the regional manager. Like let's get that guy in. So sure, yeah, he brought that up. Yep.
So kind of like what Westhoff did for Banjo.
Sure.
Bro,
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. Right. Or probably in an informal way, what Norv Turner did for his son Scott on the team. I'm sure, he's not an official member of the staff, but I'm sure a consultant of sorts. Maybe that's the right terminology to use. Whether that'd be Wade or if they got Norv to do it, or I brought up Bruce Arians before as an option. I would love. I don't know if he'd have any interest in it, but yeah, something like that.
Question. What I wanted to ask was kind of what Bob said in the very beginning of the show in regards to back in the day, the New York Jets had to make sure they were constantly in the newspaper. I feel like they still are, though, Bob, in the sense that because we're not having any kind of leaks, we're not really being put out there. The biggest narrative right now for the Jets is that, Aaron Glenn's over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him, and all that. But you're not just hearing now that, freaking Michael Clemens is banging out 20 different chicks and everything, or, stuff like that doesn't come out or anything in regards to. I kind of like the narrative of us not knowing, because that's what's driving everybody crazy right now.
Right.
That we don't know anything.
But every bit of news that's coming out about the Jets is negative. The poor Jets.
But it's been like that forever.
Well, but that's my point about putting out something positive about who are you interviewing. You don't have to say if you liked him better than somebody else, but every day, if you have a name coordinator or you build up the prowess of anybody that you interview, it's a heck of a lot better than Dante Moore jilted us. What are the Jets going to do now? Woody was upset at the end of the season by how bad the Jets played. I mean, this is all negative stuff. And I'm not saying you can control a lot of that, but there are things you can control, which is by putting out some positive stuff about how important the DC position is that they need to fill. And we haven't heard a peep, as I keep saying, about the quarterback position.
So hopefully they get it right here, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all.
But I mean, isn't it a good thing that I would be more concerned if Woody Johnson was not pissed, right?
But do you want to? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear based on Woody Johnson's, very blemished reputation. I don't want to hear that he was upset at the end of the year, because I don't want him to have anything to do with decisions that go on.
Here's the one thing I would like to do, because this was brought up earlier this week, and I've heard some follow-up. So Frankie called in earlier this week, and Johnny, you'll be our last caller here, but Frankie called in earlier this week and said he thought he heard an interview with Woody Johnson, came out and said he was pissed. And I believe Frankie did. I think what Frankie had heard was not an interview. Woody Johnson has not come out, from everything I've heard, and I double-checked everything. There's no press conference, no statements, no nothing. Rich Cimini and his own sourcing checked in with the Woody Johnson camp and overheard that Woody was pissed off about this season, and that a lot of people sort of run with it, saying, if he was this, he was this, he was this. So it's not as if Woody put out a statement and said, I'm pissed off. And then now we're all sort of running with it. Again, this was Rich doing whatever homework he does to get information to the fans. And I think a lot of fans have said, like, oh man, Woody, that's all you have to say. Like, he didn't try to say anything. He's been trying to stay silent. And the reporting and sourcing are getting bits of information out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know what's going on over there, and we have no idea what the second draft. I mean, like it, they're moving in a sort of way that we just are not used to, and everything normally would always come out. You would hear, Aaron Glenn super pissed that Dante Moore went back. What other kind of kid, just leaves $55 million on the table itself to potentially come back as a top 10 pick next year or whatever? I don't know. To me, I like it because, you had everything during the Salah organization with JD that was constantly coming out. Prior to that, the same stuff. Mm-hmm. And people are literally just, grabbing at any kind of straw right now, try to put anything out there. And it's like Rich Samini talked to some people that he knows maybe in that camp that maybe said that Woody is pissed off. You just, I don't know how much what ifs, what's this, what you don't know. I don't know. What I keep saying is that I like what they're doing. You know, yes, the record sucks. Okay, but I mean, prior to Glenn taking over, what was the defense ranked at? The defense was going like this, right? It was going down. The players were going down. People were leaving.
Johnny,
and
what do you,
everything.
Johnny?
So,
Well, what do you like that they're doing? You just said I like what they're doing. What are? It's like the question about, well, what did Aaron Glenn do well this year?
I
What do
like
you
the fact I like that we have no idea what's going on right now over there. That they're moving
Okay.
in silence. Okay. I like that the individuals that they drafted are starting to somewhat pan out, which is good, right? I like the fact that yes, you're never gonna get any Aaron Glenn. They've had it for Aaron Glenn from the very jump, and I was not an Aaron Glenn guy. I did not want Aaron Glenn, so let me put that out there, right, by what he's doing to a certain extent, because it's not the quick fix. That's what we want. We don't have the patience right now to be like, let me get this and all that, but the Muji hire, right? Nobody was talking about Muji prior to Glenn picking up. Now everybody's praising Muji this, but he's not getting the credit for doing that. You know what I mean? So like, there's just a lot of narrative on Glenn. Now, did he make it easy on himself by going on those, press conferences and going at the media and doing all this, especially if you haven't won anything? Probably, right? But I liked it. He's putting these people in check and be like, dude, I am not here to be your puppet and what you've used these other head coaches in the past for. So I don't know. That's my take. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not an NFL scout. I'm not an NFL individual, NFL player.
Yep.
I'm just a fan that wants this team to succeed.
Mhm.
Honestly, man, I just have to say, I hope that he does it, and I'm going to be in his corner until otherwise. Give me somebody else that comes in and then does that, then I'll be on board with that individual. So it just takes time, man. That's my take. Bob, appreciate you, man. DG, appreciate you guys as always. And JETS, Jets. Let's go. Peace.
Part of his argument is that any publicity is good publicity. I don't buy that.
Yes, any publicity would be good publicity. That is, but that's something, I suppose. And
I mean, you could look at the Dante Moore thing and said, okay, the Jets, we talked about today, the Jets lucked out, as Alon said,
right?
Because he wasn't ready, and he wouldn't have been ready. And in my opinion, he wouldn't have been ready in 2 years because he wouldn't have had the playing experience that he needed to get. And he's too young, and he has. You got to learn the technical things that you need to do as a quarterback, physically and mentally. And it's a lot to pick up. I mean, we have no idea because, we've never played the position. I mean, you played running back, but
yes, sir.
Yeah, you have an idea. But that story became very negative. And it could have been a positive, but it wasn't. And then again, Woody got upset. Well, I don't really care if Woody got upset, but that became a news item.
It did, and it sort of went a little bit crazy. So
right. and people like yourself had shows this week that said, okay, let's look at mock drafts. What could the Jets do here?
Sure, yeah.
And so you looked at it from a positive angle.
Yeah.
But the team didn't try to do anything, along those lines. And Aaron Glenn could have come out and had a little presser and said, listen, we're disappointed that Dante isn't coming out. We couldn't have guaranteed we would have drafted him, but he could have potentially been a great piece. But let me tell you, there's a lot of talent out there, and we've got our scouts, and we're really honing in on the guys that we think can be big difference makers.
I'm okay with them not coming out and doing something like that because I don't want every negative thing that happens in the universe to just go, don't worry, guys. We're operating here. Like, don't worry about it because, like, this Dante Moore news won't be the only kick in the loins that happens to the Jets this offseason. So I don't need a statement or a presser every time that happens. But, again, there's just sort of a silence that you hope good things are happening in those meetings, that they're doing the right things, and it is blind faith because I have no idea. I'm not inside that building. I have been inside that building before. It's very nice, but I'm not in there right now, so I don't know what they're talking about. But Bob, let's end on a positive. It looks like we'll have to save the 8,300 champagne bottle opening for tomorrow, perhaps. But thank you to everyone. We're 3 away. But instead, 15 years ago to this date, Bob, was the greatest moment as a Jets fan that I've been alive for. And it was when the New York Jets went into Foxborough to play the New England Patriots weeks after getting blown out 45-3 and upending them with a David Harris interception where he got caught by old-ass Algie Crumpler somehow on an interception that Nick Folk missed that field goal on, which seemed to, oh boy, this is how the day is going to go. Braylon Edwards dragging Patriots defenders into the end zone. LaDainian Tomlinson doing a diving touchdown. Santonio Holmes touchdown to the back left corner of the end zone. Calvin Pace strip sacking Tom Brady. I mean, there's a million memories that flow to my mind from 15 years ago. So they're end on a positive, Jet fans.
And the cap to that, of course, was Bart Scott saying, "Can't wait."
100%. So that's again
Really,
of me being alive.
How revved up I was when I heard him say that.
And unfortunately, the Jets spent their emotional tank in that game. They came sleepwalking into the AFC Championship game the next week in the first half against the Steelers. And then in the second half, they made an epic rally, but lose 24-19 when Pittsburgh goes for it with Ben Roethlisberger and converts that key down late in the game. And the Jets could have had a chance to win the game and go to the Super Bowl. But alas, we'll never know. But that Patriot moment in that place and time and defeating the 14-2 Patriots, they were spectacular that season. That is a memory I will hold forever. So, Jet fans, remember that from 15 years ago, and hopefully better times are ahead. It'll hard to be worse at a 3-14 years. So we'll see if it can get even better. There will be no Hop on Pop this weekend. He and my entire family are traveling to Romania, so Pop will not be on. But Matt Lombardo is back on Sunday. We'll have a special guest on tomorrow, so it should be a lot of fun. Bob, as always, I appreciate when we get to do this on a week-to-week basis.
Hey, same here. It's always a very interesting and happy time, really, to talk, even if we have to talk about serious problems.
And your family, right? What a historic episode. Bobby Jr. made his on-camera appearance. Yank or however you pronounce that. He joined in on the fun. So then we heard from an audio-only message.
And
right?
Who knows who from the Lederer family might get involved.
Oh, boy, man, that's keeping me on the edge of my toes. I wasn't ready for a Family Feud episode, but, I should have brought more Esdens.
Well, listen, I congratulate you on your ring. It's great.
Yes, it is
great
beautiful.
to see that you got it, and you earned it.
Thank you.
Earned it.
I absolutely did. Look at that ring, baby.
Look at that ring.
It's beautiful. I mean, look at this thing. This thing for people. I'll tell the full. There's actually a hidden backstory to this. I'll tell to the Espresso Club for those part of that YouTube membership group. I'll tell a story about this crazy ring and championship game. They flew me out to Vegas for this to call this game. I've got it's beautiful. This was very expensive and very heavy. So thank you to the overlords. Having one of those championship rings is beautiful. I've got a whole story with that. I'll share to the Espresso Club, the new membership level on YouTube later today, because there's a crazy story I've never admitted publicly about that, which is that's a story. So I'll definitely share that. So that'll be a good one for later. Oh, baby.
I think we hit a couple of interesting points today.
Yes.
And again, for the umpteenth time, I guess it is, Jets draft both of those quarterbacks in the late rounds. If you can do that, and let's take a shot. If you're going to spend your time and your money and your effort with a very good quarterback coach, let's bring in 2 kids who seem to have everything going their way until, bad things happened in 2025 and swiped away their potential to be a very high draft pick.
Yeah, amen. So thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the program. Thank you to the 400. On the way out, if you guys don't mind, please like the video. And for those that rewatch the show or are audio-only listeners or people streaming on Facebook or Twitter, we appreciate you as well. We'll be back tomorrow morning for another episode of Boy Green Daily. Thanks, everybody. Take care.